Mic check. Yes. Desktop audio, it's on. I made sure of that. So welcome back, everyone. I thought I would do this part 2 quickly as possible and get over it because, yeah, we're moving into the weekend. I just want to get through it, and so people can come in and watch it later at their leisure if they want to. So here we are today again, and we are going to cover the same stream that we did yesterday, which is a library chat with CatchLISK, which is, his name is Raul, and we talked extensively about his, can I put it in quotes, advocacy. So that's what I tried to do, and we found several questionable things there. Raul came in the live chat and he said that they will give their comments or they will react to it or whatever after I've finished with my critique. Oh, that's my oven. That one. Ding. So that's what they said. And I was like, okay, sure. I hope they do it good faith, because this is me doing it good faith. That's how I'm doing it. It's straightforward. It's good faith. I'm not making any personal attacks. And I'm questioning Claire and Raul's both, rhetoric and the logical fallacies and the arguments that the bad arguments that they have put forth around the advocacy work that Raul is claiming that he has done. So TLDR so far, we've seen a lot of claims from Raul about, a lot of praise from Claire about Raul's work, but we haven't seen any evidence of it. There are many claims about that Raul is in contact with families of the victims of various, cases of victims of crimes of various types, and but we don't know. We have no way of verifying all those claims. So that's what it is. So today I'm going to start from where we left off yesterday. That's around 1 hour 47 mark. So here we are. Also, I went back and checked what Claire has been up to. So I guess she's again restreaming trial stuff. What I thought was, let's see if she's adding commentary to this, to the restreaming that she's doing from other channels about this, about the court proceedings, right? That's happening, because I want to give her a fair shot. And surprisingly, this video has like 745 views, and it was streamed like 15 hours ago. If you look at as comparison to other ones, like this one is 1.9k, 2.5, and then 3.9, 10k views. So that's very interesting, like how the views just vary on her channel. I don't see any consistency there in the views. I don't know. So yeah, and so I thought let's give it a little watch, like maybe 2 minutes, and see if she's actually adding any commentary, because I want to be fair to her. I just don't want to like say she's still not adding commentary if she has started adding commentary. So yeah, I'll just move ahead. I don't want any music. That's not my...
Technically, he's not supposed to be released until after the court releases.
Let's see if I
subpoena. And so as a result, if you want to play that
speed
game,
it up.
I want him to stay here overnight so he can at least be cross-examined by me. I just was trying to be nice about it by doing it the other way, but it seems now like I have to recall this person. I don't trust anyone disappeared to win. I don't care if he's a detective. Like, in my opinion, I got a problem with that.
Well, yeah, but
that's
once the piece of evidence is admitted, it's our choice as to when to play it.
Oh, okay, she's saying something
now.
now.
I'm not getting dictated
okay.
how we do that. If he's done with cross, if he's going to delay cross, and
how much is it? It's just one-liners.
Cross-examination if he wants to. Once a piece of evidence is admitted, it's admitted, right? And so I'm
if you're going to have him verify it and then not play it until closings or something, that's your prerogative.
Or I could just, on Friday decide we're going to play, because we have hours and hours and hours of audio to play, and just having somebody sitting on the stand for audio is not necessary. I can present it in any manner I want to. It doesn't require the witness to be here to listen to it.
And so it sounds like what Mr. Stamp is saying is he has no objection to you doing your direct and then playing it without him being here, and then he would like to do his cross tomorrow. So I was just going to see if...
I just don't think we'll be through it by tomorrow. I think it may be...
So she's not adding on any commentary here, and I don't see any live chat, so there's nothing here, and there are no comments also yet. If we go down there, I don't hold on, let me just see. Yeah, there are no comments either. So yeah, Let me just replace it. So she's just still, I guess, stealing content from other channels without adding any fair commentary to it. So it's like, you're a 122K subscriber channel and you can't add commentary, and you're restreaming other channels' content. Like, come on. You are a 122K subscriber channel. I thought you had better standards than that, but okay, whatever. So going back, we'll start from here. 1 hour 42 1 hour 42 seconds, and we'll go. This time I've just slowed it down a little bit. Last time it was a bit sped up, so here we go. Let's do this.
Because that's the thing, it's their choice too. Some have moved on and don't want to do it, whether it's unidentified or not. Some do want to fight hard and need the help and assistance to do it. And I think the respect of giving them the choice and letting them be the ones to decide, like, yeah, we're gonna go forward. And so her speaking to the medical examiner herself, like, great, that's empowerment. She's in control of that situation. It can't be easy. But nobody ever wants to think about being in a position like that. If you have a missed loved one or someone who has gone through the tragedy of having something horrible happen to their loved ones and nothing being done about it, like, you can't imagine yourself in this position. Like, what would we do? We wouldn't. I myself, like, I covered this whole exposure to all kinds of scenarios in true crime, everything you can possibly think of. And if anything like that happened I wouldn't know what to do, where to go. We don't know how we're going to feel or where to proceed. So having advocates like yourself that can guide us if we choose, and that brings us to the organizations you're working with. Like, besides you, are you more just centrally located here for this, or is this more national? Like, I see a lot of stuff from different areas now.
Before I move on, I would just say that if Raul is actually, doing this credible work that he claims he's doing, and so I think Claire has done a poor job of demonstrating it as an interviewer. I think she should have prepped Raul more. She should have asked for evidence that they could have put on screen to demonstrate Raul's work. And I think if Raul has done this work, then Claire has failed him. I'm just saying, this is just a chit-chat and just anecdotal, examples of someone talking about their work. There's no way of verifying and demonstrating it. And the beauty of advocacy work is in demonstration of it, in showing the impact, in demonstrating the impact, not just saying that you had an impact or your advocacy had an impact. But, and I disagree with Raul with some of his conduct, like about sending emails saying that, yes, he threatened, what do you say, some news organizations and stuff. I disagree with him on that, but yeah, I guess I have a valid reason to disagree with him on this. So yeah, we'll move on and finish this segment.
So yeah, I certainly was all singular and independent at the beginning of this, but as you meet people, you help out, you get asked to help out or insight. I have the map, so people ask me to add some of their loved ones or cases that advocacy groups are working on to the map because they see the value of the map, and from there you get connected to other advocates. One of the very first ones to connect with me was a woman named Jolyn Rice up in upstate New York on the Kristen O'Connell case. And she was probably the very first person that saw value in the work that I was doing, even though I couldn't see the clarity of it. She helped, illuminate that for me. So she was one of the first ones, and she had a website, Cold Case Advocacy, at that point. She's revamping a whole.
So again, I would love to see who is this person. How do they do their own advocacy? I would have loved to see her website if possible. But this is again just Raul making the claims. Hey, morning, Brick with Eyes. How you doing? Thank you for coming in. I thought I would do the part 2 today and just get over with it because. So yeah, again, this is just Raul saying he has connected with other people, but we have no way of knowing. He's not demonstrating it, and I think Claire did a disservice to him by not empowering him, if I might dare say, and enabling him to demonstrate all his claims here. Just saying.
Out right now, but she was the first one that saw something in my work, and I appreciated that. Then came the two women that run the Alabama Cold Case Advocacy group. They're just amazing. They're literally amazing, and we worked on just getting.
Again, what do these advocacy groups do? I would love to know more about this in detail. What do they advocate about? Advocacy can be of various types. Yeah, hi Chesh. So
some of their cases on the map. In fact, they used the map for one of their identifications of a Jane Doe in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that
who was the Jane Doe?
so profound for me that the map had a solve of its own that I.
Again, who was the Jane Doe? If they did use it, you would know the name. Again, these are like he's making these claims, but he's not demonstrating anything. So I'm just like, who are you talking about?
It wasn't a part of, and
so I'll just stop here and I'll just give my comments here. So Claire is making a claim that Raul places family's wishes above everything else, and then at that he guides the families while respecting their choices. Raul says advocacy groups have used his map, and that an Alabama identification showed the map could produce a solve even when he was not personally involved. So, oh, you're at work, Brick. Hey, cool. Glad I provide morning content. Yay. So, like in here, respecting family choice is a good principle, but Claire states it's a verified global fact that he puts their desires above all else. She has not done an audit of every interaction or post or every disagreement, and we know he has admitted in the start, when I covered it yesterday, he admitted that he did it on his own accord when he started. He wouldn't ask the families in the beginning. So saying that he puts their desires above all else is not true. Also, he approaches the families. That's what he said in the Gilgo Beach, murder trial thing. He said he implored the families. So, like, sometimes I feel like when families are in vulnerable position and you approach them for something, I think it's not a good time to do that, in my opinion, unless the families go out there and they make a statement that they're looking for help. So yeah, and the way he said that he implored them instead of like, they reached out to me, tells me that they weren't looking for anything like that. So yeah, so it's not true, and Claire doesn't seem to realize this. And again, her making it a global rule or a global fact or principle, she's doing this disservice to Raul. Raul is not making that claim, if I'm not wrong. He's not making the claim that he does it above all else. He's admitted that he has in the past done things on his own accord without contacting the families. Also, the map moves from being a resource to a causal actor. Raul says that an Alabama group used it for an identification and describes the map as having a solve of its own. Again, that this claim in particular, it needs documentation and demonstration. And again, if Claire cannot enable and empower Raul to do this on the stream, on her channel, where she's the one doing the interview, she should empower him and equip him to be able to do that. And she's doing him a disservice if Raul is doing this work. But again, my thing will be, I'll ask Raul, can you please demonstrate it? Can you show documentation for it? Because I want to know what did use the map mean, actually. Did it generate the first candidate? Did it provide a link already available in NamUs? Did investigators receive and act on the suggestion? Was DNA confirmation already underway? Was the map one of several sources? Again, how did the map help? So, without a case name, dated referral, and any agency acknowledgement, quote unquote, the map solved it or helped it. helped it, something is not independently evaluable. We cannot evaluate this. And this matters because a private matching tool can be useful while also producing many false candidates or data points. The success rate cannot be assessed from the numerator alone. How many comparisons were submitted? How many were ruled out? How often were dates, locations, and demographic estimates wrong? What protections exist against public speculation attaching a missing person's name to a deceased person before any official confirmation? So it should be Claire's role to ask those questions. Instead, she converts a self-reported outcome into another character endorsement. And I think, so frankly, that's a disservice to Raul, if I might say. But Raul should also insist that they want to demonstrate that. They want to demonstrate their work, and they want to show the documentation of their work. Raul should also do, like, if he has done this work, he needs to make it fair for his own work. He should push towards demonstrating it and displaying the documentation for it. But he doesn't do it, Claire doesn't do it, so it's just anecdotal examples at this point. Still, an hour in. And those anecdotal examples are used as character endorsements, which is, I am not a big fan of this. So the errors and fallacies that are being committed here are universal character claim, family desires above all else is asserted without comprehensive evidence, unverified causal claim, a map is credited with assault without identifying the case or evidence chain. Bayes rate neglect, claimed successes are presented without the number of comparisons, exclusions, or errors. Survivorship bias, only positive outcomes are being discussed here. Technological personification, the map had a solve, quote unquote, conceals the human, laboratory, and law enforcement stages required for identification. So a tool does not merely earn a solve because somebody who solved a case once opened it. There's more involved in this. So moving on. There we go. We'll start with 1417.
Thinking of all of the communities on this and all of the cases.
Yeah, and a lot of people have maps of missing, murdered, and unidentified. Mine is much more comprehensive and robust. Mine is every unidentified in the United States that's on NamUs or not on NamUs yet. They're on there, as are most of the states
I would love to see what other maps he has compared his maps to say that his is the most comprehensive one. He has immediately dismissed the other ones. So again, how am I supposed to test the quality of the comprehensiveness of his map? I don't know. At this point, he should have brought the map up on the screen and shown, or maybe shown it in comparison to another map on the screen. This is what one of the maps is, this is my map, and demonstrated it actually to show this is how my map is more comprehensive than the other ones. But he's just saying here, and again, Claire should have asked this question and should have said, hey, it would have been such a more interesting conversation if Claire would have, hey, would you like to show us your work? Show your work, demonstrate your work. That's so much more interesting than just sitting down and just like chatting back and forth. It does nothing. Like, at least it will show the audience how they can go and use the map. Like, help them, make them more interested in it. It's just surface level and hollow and shallow. That's all it is.
Completed already for the missing that are on NamUs and Charlie Project, Doe Network, things like that. I'm currently working in California right now, but what's unique about my map is it's all chronological. So when you start off with the missing person's date last seen, you can scroll up into the future and look for unidentified locations, unidentified people of similar characteristics and details. And
again, he could have brought his map on the screen and shown it how to do that. But he's just saying it, so we don't know how to go about doing it. So, and again, that's his claim that his map does that. So if I go in the description here, right, this is the map he's talking about. Let's have a look. That's me doing the work for him. He's not doing the work for himself. I am trying to do the work for him. So let me see if it's still loading. It's trying to load. So let's see if it loads or not. Okay. Come on. It's taking a lot of time. Which is fine. Maybe a lot of... Okay, so this is what he means by chronology. So now, me bringing it up, right, and showing it makes it so much more interesting, isn't it? But now, red umbrella, chronologically centered missing unidentified persons and unresolved homicide cases, contact info, blah, 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 blah. Heart shape, minor female found, adult female. I'm not a fan of using minor females or minors. There are 454 more, like LGBTQ plus. I don't know how he confirmed that one. Or is it the person that have told them? So, and these are all the other, I don't know what these ones are. The T's, I don't know. But Jewel Avenue, upon deck, erected wood deck at rear of the existing house as per plans, no change in use of egress or occupancy. I don't get it. What are these? Okay. I'll get out of the way. So again, NamUs, okay. Tamili, NamUs, okay. NamUs. So these can all be picked up from the website, NamUs website, right? So that's fine. Again, these are all NamUs. So are there any non-NamUs ones? What's this one? Archive, Orland, blah, 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 blah. Skeleton remains found near. Oh, it's asking me for the captcha. Oh, go away. Let's have a look. So, skeleton remains found near Walt Disney World, deputies say. Okay, so that's what this is for, based on this article. Okay, so this is me doing the work for them. They're not doing this, if I'm not wrong. But I don't know. Okay, I can see that a lot of has been picked up from NamUs over here. So, okay, you can just do that. That's all you can. It's not a big deal. You can accumulate that from a website. You can. That's not a, like anyone can format this map. That's fine. I'm not saying that he didn't do the work. Good. My question is, why not bring it up? I am bringing it up and showing it. I am doing Raul more favors and demonstrating the work he claims he has done. I don't know how he created this website. And if he created this website, again, I don't know how and why there's so many like addresses here. I don't understand this, but whatever. But also he was talking about, if I'm not wrong, sorry, that the LGBTQ plus, right? So I'm just wondering, how can I filter it via that? How did he confirm that the LGBTQ status, I guess, Newfoundland, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I would love to know how he's finding the details. I mean, maybe the photos and stuff. I don't know. So yeah, so I'm doing him more favors rather than Claire. She just put the link here. But instead of doing that, if you had brought that up on the screen and showed it to us, it would have been much, much better, isn't it? But again, I'm just gonna go, he claims he made this map, but I wanna know how he created this map. Like, did he take someone's help or did he do it all on his own? Would love to know that. So there we go.
Build a list of possibles. It's something that the public can do.
And again, the question is, how is his map helping? He's not able to demonstrate that. Yeah, there's a map, but how is it helping? Just saying.
Without being solely reliant on scheduling comparisons out of NamUs. So it's a hands-on thing. With NamUs, they schedule comparisons regularly. It happens automatically. With the map, it gives actionable power to a researcher, an advocate, a family member to go and look for a match to their own. For
Right.
people
How?
that are endeared to the unidentified, you start with the unidentified date that they're found, and you scroll back through time
Right.
for missing people that might fit a possible link.
I don't think so. That's a fair way of doing it. That's not a good methodology of doing it. There's a lot of guesswork going on there, in my opinion. Unless there's like DNA evidence being corroborated in the background and more investigation in the background, I don't think so. The map does. This is the correct way to do it.
The map right now.
You need more independent verification. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, continuing.
Has 21 solves on it. The one is the Alabama girls, but 21 solves.
Hold on. You said the Alabama girls. Okay, I'll do you the favor. I'll bring it up. I'll see for it. I'll bring it up. Let's see, Alabama. I don't know how you're going to search for it, but you know what? I'm not going to waste my time. It's his job to show what Alabama girls he's talking about, not mine. Nope. He should be the one demonstrating this claim. I'm not going to waste my time. Nah.
That's 21 families that have some sort of answers. They may not.
Some sort of answers? You're making it very vague. I thought this is a map, so what type of answers are you talking about? Again, a lot of vague claims are being made here. Nothing is specific here. I wonder why. I don't get it. I do not get it. Okay. Also, if I like on the map, is there somewhere where it says, "Oh yeah, these are the cases, that were solved through this map"? Can you show us that? I'm opening the map again because I am curious now, but I'm doing the favor to him. Claire should have done that. She should have brought up this map on the screen and say, "Oh, okay, which Alabama girls? Can you point me up on the map, please?" But they don't do that. It's like, and then again, some sort of help, like I don't understand, has some sort of answers. This, like he says, that's 21 families that have some sort of answers, and who in the family has these answers? What type of answers? Would love to know that. It's just 21 families. Like, give us just 2 examples. And also, like, how did it help with the Alabama girls? How is your map helping? I do not get it. I do not understand. This whole stream, I have not understood how your map helps at all. Patrick, chronologically, is there any copy map details, collapse, embed map, download, view Google map? Okay, what is here? Create map. Oh, it's a creating maps. So you can create a map. This is through Google Maps, and you can create your own maps here. Okay, so my question is, how do I go about looking at the... Oh, this was published five minutes ago. Okay, that's interesting. Chronologically centered, unidentified persons, and unresolved homicide cases. You said there are 21 solved cases, right? Where are they? How do I find them? How do I find them? I don't know. So that's the locations of interest. That's what it is. Okay. What do you do with the location of interest? Again, 1900s, 1970, 1989. If I go 2022 present and I look, it says 7,250. I have no way of knowing. You're talking about Alabama. I don't know a lot about the geography. I'm sorry. Where's Alabama? Hold on. I'm not good at American geography, sorry. I'm not. It's in southeastern. Let's have a look. How do I filter this out? It's so crowded. Okay, if I go by adult female, it's... How do I filter this? There are no instructions here. Can you help me filter this, dude? Oh my god, Columbia, blah, 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 blah. Hold on. Okay, so Alabama is somewhere here, right? It's here, if I'm not wrong. This is Alabama, right? So which ones are you talking about here? Anderson, Wheeler, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. So again, how am I supposed to know which ones have you solved? I don't know. Yeah, Southeast. Yeah, I got it. I Googled it. Brick, I Googled it. Hi, Smitty. Thanks. I've got nice hair. Thank you. I didn't realize you were in the live chat. Yeah, I'm just looking at, like, how am I supposed to know that, you know, this map works? And I'm doing Raul more favors here than Claire. Claire doesn't bring up this map even once on the screen. Throughout this 1 hour we have seen, she doesn't even bring this map even once on the screen. She's just sitting there and talking about it, and he's rambling and talking about it. Like, come on. Do some work. Like, talking is easy. Sitting and talking is easy. Demonstrate your shit. Show me what work you have done. Bruh.
That's 21 families that have some sort of answers.
Some sort of answers? Again, what do you mean by some sort of answers? This is the thing, right? It's a vague thing that he puts in. They have answers, some sort of answers. Like what? Give me an example. Give me 2 examples. And you're saying the Alabama girls. I still don't know how your map helped solve that case, or whatever, help the case in some way. Which case you're talking about, I don't know. Which case is it? Is there a case number? You know, is there? Can we have a link that we can go and look? A news article, something? And how did you establish the causation? Would love to know that, but there's nothing here. Hi, EMP, how you doing? Thank you for coming in. So yeah, it's all talk, no demonstration, and then it's frustrating the F out of me. And Claire is not doing no favors to Raul here.
They may not have all the understandings of the whys, but at least there's some path forward for them.
Like what? Like what? Some path forward for them. Like what? Give me one example, dude. It's really frustrating me now. He's just saying things. He's not giving us any information. No specific information. And Claire isn't asking for any. She should have asked him, oh, can you give us an example? And discuss that case in particular. And demonstrate how it happened. How the map, what was the role of the map in that case. Exact role.
And, that map has brought me, I've been connected with, I've been reached out by different law enforcement agencies to build a list of possibles for, an unresolved missing persons case that has gone cold. And I can build a list based on, particular set of parameters.
What parameters? What possibles? What do you mean by possibles? First of all, can you define that for us? What do you mean by possibles? What parameters? And again, you're saying the law enforcement reached out to you. How are we supposed to know? Again, Claire should have asked this before they started this interview. Claire should have said, hey, man, it will be good if you have some, something that we can show to the people while we're talking about this. They did a 2-hour conversation and there was no demonstration. And Claire didn't have the brains. She didn't have the brains to ask Raul, hey, can you come up with some examples that we can show the audience while we're talking? Like, how dumb are you, Claire? What's the point of all this? Just praise this person, that's it? Yeah, Smitty, vague set of parameters, bleh. And also, like Brick with I said from the live chat, I've been listening to this for 3 days now, and I don't know what these idiots are even talking about. And EMP Network from the live chat said, neither do they if they were truly honest with themselves. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's this the police using undisclosed methods. They wouldn't have their own database. They have NamUs. Why would they approach him? I don't know if they're pretending, but Claire is doing this guy no favors. Let's just say that. She's doing this guy no favors. None. None. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, she's... Fake. Brick with I said, good. I thought I was losing my mind because I'm lost on what points they're even trying to make. I don't know. Apparently this guy does advocacy. I don't know what kind of advocacy he does, and he reaches out to the families. He threatens media houses or media sites or anything like that if they don't perform according to his standards of being decent. And I'm just like,
I can build a list of minimum of a dozen people in a half an hour.
Based on what parameters? Please tell us.
So,
wow. What is it?
So, this whole thing, like Raul calls his map, like he's calling his map more comprehensive and robust than others, says it contains unidentified person in the United States, says it has 21 solves, and says law enforcement agencies ask him to build candidate lists quickly. Again, as I said before, these are a lot of enormous claims delivered without an audit trail. There's no audit trail. There's no way to demonstrate that. There's neither demonstrate nor verify. NamUs itself says its national database is not complete. And Raul says his private data map goes beyond NamUs and contains every unidentified person, including those not yet in NamUs. But if I'm not wrong, NamUs goes according to where that person is from, not where they were found. He's going around putting in things where people were found, and that can cause like false hopes and false data points for people who might be looking for their young ones. It's not doing anyone any favors. So Raul says his private map goes beyond NamUs and contains unidentified person, including those not yet in NamUs. But how can the completeness be established for cases that are not in national system and may not be publicly documented? I don't know how. Just through media articles. That's what he's doing. Finds a media article and just puts it in. He's not doing any other verification. Every quote unquote, that word is doing the impossible work. And I keep saying this. These people think that just because they can speak English, whatever the fuck comes out of their mouth should make sense, when it doesn't. And I think so. This is not like Raul. He needs to do better. He needs to do better. If he was sitting down in this interview, he needed to do better. And Claire also, both of them. And this map, I still have no idea what it does. A comprehensive database requires defined inclusion, criteria, duplicate resolution, authoritative identifiers, independent identifiers, update schedules. He says he updates it, but source provenance, correction logs. Have you done any corrections here? Where I can find the logs for that. Privacy rules. Do you have any privacy rules regarding these the map and what you put on there? And a reproducible completeness assessment. How do you assess it? That it's complete. Just because you said so? We are getting told that one person manually reads and adds the cases. That may produce a rich resource. It does not prove national completeness. And also, the 21 solves claim needs the same discipline. Does a solve mean the map generated the decisive lead? The person was already listed and later identified. An external group consulted the map like he's claiming, but how did they consult it? A proposed candidate was confirmed. He's talking about the Alabama girls. Who are they? He should have the case number for it. Like, if he was really that confident, on his map, there would be case numbers. There are no case numbers. They're just like NamUs entries. I don't know what NamUs entries have. Hold on, let me double check. If we go to, where's my, if I go to the NamUs website, so it says, I'll make it a little bigger so it's readable. The National Missing and Unidentified Person System, or NamUs, is the National Information Clearinghouse and Resource Center for missing, unidentified, and unclaimed person cases throughout the United States. So they also have unidentified people. So which ones is he talking about? Why is his database different than this one? How are his unidentified people different from NamUs's? And unclaimed person cases also. They have that throughout the United States. NamUs is funded and administered by the National Institute of Justice and managed through a contract with RDI. All NamUs resources are provided at no cost through the funding from NIJ. So how different is your map, Raul? I don't know. The NamUs program brings people, information, forensic science, and technology together to help resolve missing and unidentified cases across the country. So, what is the extent of missing person problem? So they're describing that. What is the NamUs database? The NamUs database is the technology that drives the missing, unidentified, and unclaimed person case resolutions and is part of the suite of free services offered through NamUs program. The NamUs database application contains a secure, easy-to-use, centralized online database, blah, blah, blah. So they have an FAQ page. This guy does not. We don't know how to use this thing. There's no FAQ page about this. I would trust NamUs, and they're working with, if I'm not wrong, they're working with the National Institute of Justice. I would trust this map rather than this thing. I don't know how hard is unknown gender found or adult male. What he has done is he's just disintegrated the data from NamUs, in my opinion, into various types, which confuses the people more approaching this website. Like, oops, sorry, my bad. Like, just create a filter, dude. It's a layer, okay. If I go like that, so I have to unselect all the layers here first, right? How do I unselect all the layers? Okay, now I've unselected all the layers, and I now go 2020 and present. There are so many. How do I filter through these? And these are all NamUs entries. So how is your database any different? How is your data any different from NamUs's? How do I know you're just not picking up and just chucking it in on a Google map? Like, oh yeah, it shows both the races, indigenous and Pacific indigenous. So, like, what are you trying to do here? I don't get it. So yeah, you're quick to dismiss, the work that's, I guess, done being NamUs, and you're saying, oh, mine is more extensive. How? I don't know. And I'm the one sitting here and doing the demonstration instead of either Claire or this guy. They both have done nothing so far. I'm the one doing it. I'm doing more work than they are in this interview. This is just head patting and just back patting, back patting. Oh yeah, you did a good job, dude. You did a good job, without any accountability. or verification, demonstration, nothing. Audit, nothing. And he also said, like, oh, law enforcement agencies have contacted him. That's a self-report. It may be true, but the interview does not identify, he's not saying which agency contacted him, for which cases or documentation. Claire could have done him the favor by asking him, saying, hey, dude, can you tell us of one such case? Go on and explain in detail how it happened. But Claire doesn't do that. She just takes his word, doesn't ask. It would have been such an interesting conversation. Like, bruh. Is it because you're being so vague is because someone might call that agency and confirm if they have been consulting with you or not, dude? Is that why you're keeping it this way vague? And they might find out you're actually full of shit? I'm just asking. Law enforcement agencies have contacted Steve too. Maybe he was swatted. Yeah, what is even going on? He's so vague, this guy. You know, sensitive cases may require confidentiality. Fine. But confidentiality also means the claim cannot be used as a public proof without corroboration. Don't use it publicly for your corroboration if they are sensitive cases that you're talking about. Don't talk about them at all then. But you're sitting here and boasting about them. And then Claire over here, she sits and she's responding like with amazement rather than asking for methodology, precision, recall. Like, dude, discuss one case with us. Any false positive rate or any independent validation that he might have done. Nothing. Like, bruh. So errors and fallacies. We have not even made like past 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So unsupported universal, quote unquote, every unidentified person is asserted without a credible completeness method. How do you know you have got every unidentified person? Unidentified success metric. 21 quote unquote solved cases has no operational definition. How? What's the metric? Like people are asking in the live chat here. Appeal to anonymous authority. Unnamed law enforcement contacts are invoked as validation. Speed as quality inference. Producing 12 candidates in 30 minutes says nothing about their relevance or error rate or how accurate your data was that you produced. Black box methodology. The audience is asked to trust the output without access to criteria or validation. This is just a testimony. This is not a data set. All right. Moving on. Okay.
How you said that there's ones that aren't on NamUs that you have on your list as far as
okay, that's one question.
Why wouldn't NamUs have them in there? Like how
well, the way the process works is there's
they're more stringent and they vet things. Unlike you, they have a methodology, and I don't know what methodology you have.
I think there's only 16, 17 states that are required to upload their information to the national database, which is NamUs. All the other states do not have to upload their cases to NamUs. And even the ones that are required to upload their information to NamUs, there's no accountability if they don't. So
okay, so wow, that's something that needs advocacy. Yeah.
Yep. That's one of the first big problems with the system.
Is there anything on that list that you talked about from your account that has resources for how we can push in the states that don't require it to get these people listed in what's already a good resource to help them save time and effort and a benefit to the families? I don't understand.
Again, how it's beneficial to the families. How's his map more beneficial to those families?
Require this is the data technology. We're in 2026. They push 3 buttons and enter some information and it's there. That should be mandatory. I'm
That's oversimplification, Claire.
blown away. Your answer, I'm stunned. Can you see? I'm stuttering.
You're very performative, Claire, and you're oversimplifying things. Raul says only 16 or 17 states mandate NamUs use and other states are not required to upload. And then, he is substantially correct here. But then we saw Claire just oversimplifies the correct point. NamUs says that 17 states currently have legislation mandating use of NamUs for missing and or unidentified person cases. The exact scope and deadlines vary by state. So 6 or 17 is a reasonable approximation. That's fine. But Claire's 3-button performance is not a process analysis. NamUs entries must be vetted. Imported data must validate for completeness and correctness and are queued for review. You idiot. Sensitive information is restricted to vetted professional users. Case creation can require agency permission. Case identifiers, circumstances, dental records, anthropology, fingerprints, DNA status, photographs, exclusions, and continuing updates. Like this data imports and how it's validated, data integration and requirements and scope. They have all this here information and you guys could have gone to the page and found it, but you're lazy as fuck. And again, NamUs has made it easier to understand how the data is imported and is, what are they doing right now. This tells me nothing. This tells me nothing. It just tells me that you have picked up the data from another website. This tells me that you're building on the work of other websites and just adding, erroneous data to it through what you found through news articles. That's it. And in turn, you might be giving false hope to people. You idiot. Just because, the fact that a form is digital does not mean the information required to complete it already exists. Sorry, I'm going to get rid of that. Or, that the data is legally releasable or accurate or is interoperable format or has staff assigned to maintain it. Mandatory reporting may still be a good policy. The argument should be standardized fields, funded staff, interoperable imports, deadlines, auditing, and consequences for non-compliance. Push 3 buttons, quote unquote, trivializes precisely the labor she says is missing. Yeah, the most specific comment they've made so far, I guess. So errors and fallacies, nirvana fallacy. A frictionless digital ideal is compared with the real system without accounting for data quality or legal constraints. Oversimplification, data entry, validation, permission, and maintenance are reduced to button pressing. Appeal to modernity. It's 2026. It's treated as proof that institutional and evidentiary problems should no longer exist. Invisible labor fallacy. The work required to create reliable data is erased because the final interface looks simple. Valid core claim. 17 states is supported. The critique of the conclusion is of the conclusion that is being built around it. And this is this is what tells me that Claire is lazy as fuck. She doesn't do her research. She doesn't know the amount of the effort that goes in such databases. And that's why this dude was able to just simply build up on the basis of the work done by others, which is fine. But then he's adding things with his whatever he's adding, which is not NamUs, right? Which is not unidentified or anything like that. Those are through news articles. He might be giving a false hope to people. We don't know. I don't know the error rate of this map. At least I can trust NamUs. They are giving me information. They have the FAQs here. they will take responsibility if something goes wrong. Hopefully. Who's gonna hold this guy responsible? No one. Absolutely. Like, how lazy are you, Claire? And she's 122K, subscriber channel. Just saying.
I did not know
Believe me,
this.
I mean, it has me screaming at the wall sometimes. And it's frustrating. And like New York is one of the states that have to upload information. And there's time periods. There's 7 days, there's 30 days, there's 90 days. But there's no accountability if they don't. There's no ramifications for not doing it. I post on Tuesday. Huh?
I don't understand that with these states. Like,
Exactly.
it would help with the legwork. It actually takes the burdens off of their actual offices to take this to everybody else in the cold case. It helps them. It is more productive. It saves them time.
Yeah, still, you don't know the amount of background work that goes in it, you baka. Again, she's oversimplifying things. It's so easy for her to simplify things.
Time, money, effort, and you're doing something really good. It seems like a no-brainer to me. When I tell you I'm sitting here with my mouth open, like, seriously.
Yeah, like, this is argument from incredulity, right? That's what this is. And it's very easy to sit and, wiggle your finger at others who are actually doing the work while you're sitting on a fucking YouTube channel and just like, oh my God. Well, here's a guy who's built his own database based on other people's work. Hard work, vetted work. He's done no vetting himself. Bruh.
I'm sitting here with a grin on my face because, yes, I've been through all of that. But, when I started the map 4 years ago and realized this and encountered this, I was screaming. I'm screaming at the walls. I'm screaming at...
for what? What are you screaming for?
Enforcement investigators that I'm familiar with. I'm screaming at...
Familiar with? Now you're familiar with them? Okay.
Cops. I'm screaming at agencies. I'm screaming at NamUs. I'm screaming. But
show me your screaming. Show me. Have you sent them emails? Show me. Have they replied to your emails? Show me. Demonstrate it to me. Or else you're just saying that you're screaming. Hi Athens, how you doing? Boop. Boopity boop. Boop. Thanks for coming in. I'm just like... these people.
Screaming, doesn't always work.
True.
So, that's why, like, even in Suffolk County, New York.
So why are you screaming? If you know it doesn't work, why are you screaming?
Where Gilgo was tried and sentenced and so on, there's a case I post every Tuesday, Riverhead Jane Doe. She's still not in NamUs. And it's the last sentence in my tweet.
And why? Do you ever imagine why it might be? If you have contacted the agencies or NamUs about it, have they given you the reason why they haven't done it? There can be so many reasons why they are not able to do it. You fucking idiot.
You have a lot of information on her too, like information that is from them that would help them if it was in there.
The information is from them, so they already have the information. There might be a reason that they might still be investigating the case, you idiots. And they don't want to put out information that might alert the person who has killed her or killed them. They're not going to work on your standards if your standards are vague as fuck. Just put it on there.
So other cases
that's not a standard.
In other history and
how it's going to help. Please explain to us how it's going to help. That's a last resort to put some detail on a map, to go out to the public and ask for help. They might still be investigating the case. Is it a cold case? How did you establish it's a cold case? Has it been declared? Can I see some articles for it that it's been declared a cold case? And they should now go to the public for assistance? Bruh. Has the family said anything publicly about it? Again, just superficial. Surface level. Nothing. They don't go deeper at all. There's so many good questions that you can ask and and look into here. But these two just sit there and lazily, they're just like talking shallow, like in such a hollow and shallow way about these things. And this is a disservice to the victims that they're talking about.
Patterns.
Just so that Claire can praise this guy and pat him on the back. Hey, greetings, schemers, dreamers, and blasphemers. Hi, right-handed Sith, how you doing? Hello.
I don't understand that with New York at all, because the Harriman case alone would teach them that just being able to tie these things together is necessary. They have a huge, can we agree between the two of us being East Coasters, there's a huge amount of unidentified here. Okay.
Again, the huge unidentified, that's doing a lot of heavy lifting, Claire. Lot of heavy lifting.
A huge amount.
Again, huge amount, it's vague. Give me a fucking number.
The benefit of this in productivity alone, it makes absolutely no sense why not every single one is put in there.
Right.
What would possibly stop them?
Yeah, I wonder, Claire, what would possibly stop them? Just, again, argument from incredulity, argument of ignorance. Just because you don't know doesn't mean there's no reason. Yeah, true crime isn't about helping victims. It's about eating popcorn while listening to an exciting narrative, right, Smitty? That's what it seems. Huge. Lol. Lol. Fucking hell.
From doing it.
I mean, there's a million of answers or excuses I've been giving. Lack of manpower, hours, payroll, time. Like, I get it.
Yeah, so those are valid, valid reasons. I just mentioned it. That it could be those reasons. Why aren't they valid reasons?
Forensically would justify itself within the first year.
Yes.
How are you confident about that? How do you know that, Claire? Please demonstrate that to us. How do you know that?
Amount of information that would automatically process without any of their detectives, law enforcement,
Dude, things need to go through proper channels before they can be processed. You just can't override a process. You fucking idiot. How will it go through without any of the detectives and law enforcement and cold case representatives touching a thing like that? What are you doing? These things have to be verified before they are put on a database. You just can't put shit up there willy-nilly. And verifying stuff takes time. Raul is saying right. Yeah, there's manpower problems. Yeah, that is a good reason. She's just trying to minimize the effort that goes into all these things and the verification that happens behind the scenes for all this data to go up on a database. Just sitting there casually dismissing people's hard work and the systems that have been created to, iron out errors.
cold case representatives touching a thing. Like,
Right.
oh gosh, I
Just sitting there and just be like, just be judgy about everything. When she's never worked in a case before. She doesn't know how these things work. Again, argument from incredulity, argument from ignorance. These are your both fallacies she's clearly demonstrating here. And Raul, he said previously that New York has like 7, 30, and 90-day timelines, but no accountability. And then Claire says uploading would have saved time, money, and effort and would forensically justify itself within the first year without detectives starting anything. The New York timetable described here does not match the current statutes I could locate. For missing children, New York requires transmission to NamUs within 30 days when circumstances indicate immediate risk or a possible unidentified person match, and within 180 days in other cases. Similarly, 30 or 180-day rules apply to certain missing adults. For unidentified deceased persons, medical examiners and coroners must promptly furnish identifying data to NamUs. So medical examiners and coroners must promptly furnish identifying data to NamUs. The statutes do not establish the blanket 7, 30, and 90-day sequence that Raul is giving here. Here we go. NY law, missing, statewide general register for missing children. And then here we go. New York state law for missing adults. And then identification of unknown dead or missing persons. Do your fucking homework, you assholes. I will give him this charity that Raul might be misremembering an agency practice, or he might be thinking about another jurisdiction, and what he did was he represented it as New York's NamUs law without source or qualification. And then Claire, she announced the uploading would pay for itself forensically within first year and require no detective or cold case staff to touch anything. That is pure invention. There's no cost study, staffing model, match rate, confirmation cost, or implementation analysis. Nothing is like that is being cited here. So she's just pulling shit out of her asshole, if I might dare say. She's on Bullhorn Betty's level. Automatic matching can produce candidate comparisons. A candidate is not an identification, and an identification is not solved homicide. People must review records, obtain samples, conduct laboratory testing, resolve exclusions, notify families, and investigate cause and offender. And it also depends where the case might be at. And depending on the context. Like, are they unidentified people or missing people? Or are they minors? Missing children? Are they, missing adults? It depends. The system can reduce search friction. It cannot eliminate the human work. And Clear keeps on dismissing the human work all the time, minimizing and dismissing it for some reason. I don't get it. Yeah, I'm calling you an asshole. I'm calling you both both assholes. You're misremembering stuff. That's my language. Are you trying to tone police me, bruh? Welcome to the party. Oh, I'm glad you're listening to me, though. Hopefully you learned something. From all the things that I've said here, he zeroed on the word asshole. Oh my God. You're funny. All right, errors and fallacies being committed here. Factual or source error. The stated 7, 30, 90-day schedule does not match the current New York provisions that I have located. And I put it here. There we go. Right? Unsupported cost-benefit claim. Clear declares a 1-year return without the data. I don't know. Automation fallacy. Candidate matching is treated as autonomous case resolution for some reason. This is all clear. False economy. Upfront data work and downstream confirmation costs are ignored. Appeal to incredulity. I said that from the start. Because Claire finds non-uploading baffling, she treats every institutional explanation as an excuse. So, an algorithm can suggest a comparison. It cannot interview a witness, validate a chain of custody, or notify a mother. It cannot do that. Smitty from a live chat. Honestly, it's relatable. I tend to zero in on the asshole too. Oh, God. So fragile. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I'm rude. Oh, God, no. Oh, yeah. Let's focus and let's tone police instead of focusing on the facts that I'm presenting. Yeah. Manet is a space ball. We're all assholes here. Yeah, we're all assholes here. I'm being an asshole. Okay. of all the things, oh, you're rude. So I'm going to ignore everything every information that you're presented here, because you're rude. Good one on you, dude. Good one. All right, moving on.
That
it's so
conversation would have been
frustrating.
hard to hear.
With River,
I am rude to people who don't give me, good information, who just make vague, claims. And I have no way of verifying shit. Yeah, so I'm rude to them. Because I don't like people who make a lot of claims without any verification or documentation to show for it. So yeah, I'm going to be rude to you. Anyway, leaving, this isn't worth of course it's not worth your time, dude, because this is how it's done. Good research, this is how it's done. And you don't like it, that I'm calling you out. So, all right. I am rude to people who like just sit and pat their backs without showing any work for it. So yeah. Bye. No need to hide him. He can stay in the live chat and listen if he wants to. But yeah, bye. If you don't, okay, bye. Not worth your time. Bye. All right, moving on.
Riverhead Jane Doe, she's unidentified. So her not being in the national database means that the DNA evidence from Riverhead Jane Doe cannot be compared on a national level
to any other case
Any
that
of, because she's not-
we may know of an alleged criminal.
How do you know that? We may know of an alleged criminal.
Now they may
targeted.
have, the Suffolk County may have, farmed out the information to Othram or any other DNA lab, but
Smitty from the live chat, how dare you cuss was worth their time. Addressing the constructive criticism wasn't worth their time because that takes effort. Yeah, lazy. Okay.
there's no national level review unless they're reaching out to something particular. And I can't make it equal out.
No,
The evidence you have with
Hold on,
Riverhead
hold on.
Jane Doe,
I need
put it
to
on the
listen to this
database
again.
and, upload the DNA.
Hold
That
on.
it's so
conversation would have been
frustrating.
hard to hear.
With Riverhead Jane Doe, she's unidentified. So her not being in the national database means that the DNA evidence from Riverhead Jane Doe cannot be compared on a national level
To any other case
Any
that
of, because she's
that
not-
we may know of an alleged criminal.
Now they
that's
may have,
targeted.
the Suffolk
They
County
don't.
may have, farmed out the information to Othram or any other DNA lab, but there's no national level review unless they're reaching out to something particular. And I can't.
What do you mean by this? I don't, any other DNA lab, there's no national level review unless they're reaching out to something particular, and I can't make it equal out, What are you talking about? Oh my God, it's getting late. My neighbors will think I've gone nuts.
make it equal out.
No,
The
because-
evidence you have with Riverhead Jane Doe, put it on the database and, upload the DNA, not only into LDIS, which is the Suffolk County lab,
Mhm.
but the SDIS, which is the state lab. But once you get her into NamUs as an unidentified, she can go into CODIS, which is the unified DNA index system
right.
that has
Let me-
every.
That does. Now let me throw a little wrench in there. Like, would it help if this was a federal mandate?
Yeah.
Is anyone working on
CODIS is a FBI supported program. What the Okay.
that? Because I don't know. I don't hear anything.
That fight waxes and wanes often. Todd Matthews, God rest his soul, was a big proponent. And basically creator of NamUs. He's fought long and hard for NamUs to be unified at a federal level. It's federally supported. NamUs is, but federal requirements for all states. The Fed can't just force the states to do so.
But federal funding could expand
well, that's
to
the thing.
actually
Even with-
letting states.
Again, federal funding doesn't mean that the states are going to do it. What are you talking about?
Get the information to them and letting them get it in there,
Well, here's the
getting
thing.
the actual funds to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
I wrote a Substack article on NamUs sometime last year, I think it was.
Okay. So over here, NamUs is, for some reason, it's being falsely made into a gateway to CODIS, and CODIS is described as containing quote unquote everyone. Again, these like super overgeneralized, like complete claims are made throughout this interview. Raul is saying that unidentified peoples not being named in NamUs means DNA cannot be compared nationally, and then says once the person is in NamUs, they can go in CODIS, which he calls a unified DNA system and has everyone, quote unquote. I don't know what his definition of everyone is. What do you mean by everyone? First, I would like to know that, because I don't get it. And then Claire is asking about a federal mandate. Raul calls Todd Matthews essentially the creator, Todd Matthews as being essentially the creator of NamUs. This is the most technical misinformation in this interview. I'll say that. NamUs and CODIS are complementary, but one is not a login screen for the other. CODIS is FBI-supported program and software used by participating DNA databases. NDIS is its national level, containing profiles contributed by qualified federal, state, and local laboratories. It does not have everyone. It contains defined indices and eligible profiles under federal and state rules. NamUs does not store the DNA profiles itself. Family reference and missing person profiles are analyzed and uploaded to NDIS through participating laboratories. NamUs doesn't do that. An unidentified remains profile can be entered into appropriate CODIS/NDIS index through laboratory procedures. The existence of a public NamUs record is not what legally creates the eligibility. So, like, what are you even talking about here? I don't get it. DNA analysis and CODIS searching, submitting DNA samples. NamUs is partnering with recognized ISO-accredited CODIS laboratories across the countries that are capable of developing and uploading mitochondrial DNA profiles to CODIS. So there's a DNA sample collection form. Like, what are you doing? Here you go. And then NIJ, development of NamUs. Like, there you go. Like, what? I'm doing the fucking work here. So, like, this claim of, like, once she gets into NamUs, she can go into CODIS states a causal dependency that the official descriptions do not support at all. Now, like, I'll give it to Raul that lack of NamUs record can impede visibility or case coordination or matching, but he turns an important, like, coordination problem into a false systems architecture. Todd Matthews was an important pioneer in unidentified person advocacy and NamUs development. But NIJ describes NamUs as a federal initiative created following a 2005 national summit and subsequent government development. Calling one advocate basically the creator overstates a collective institutional history. Here we go. Development of NamUs. This is the same thing, sorry. Is it? Yeah. So like, that's why the interview should have had a forensic database professional, not like Claire doing like this reciprocal amazement. Oh, wow. Errors and fallacies, systems conflation. NamUs, CODIS, and NDIS are treated as one sequential database when they're not. Factual error. CODIS and NDIS does not contain everyone. That's not possible. False, unless, Raul has a definition of everyone. What does he mean by everyone? False gateway claim. A NamUs entry is presented as a step that enables CODIS entry. Great man history, a complex federal system is attributed essentially to one person. Authority cascade, technical confidence is accepted because Raul has already been morally certified as an expert advocate. No one's checking his claims. Claire is not checking it. Moving on. All right.
Where even the states that have opted in to upload to NamUs and they're not doing it for whatever reason, they should be held accountable and have potential federal grants withheld. So whether it's highways or infrastructure, like make it accountable. That if you are a part of uploading into NamUs and supporting the NamUs database, then you have to follow the requirements. You can't just do it when you want to upload into NamUs. You got to do it all the time. So, the fact that I've brought as much attention to Riverhead Jane Doe in the last...
He's just dismissing, the states, he's presenting... I don't know why he's doing this. He's presenting as if the states are doing this on purpose. He doesn't know why they're doing it, right? Why they're not immediately able to upload everything. When he himself recognized that there could be labor shortages and other similar reasons. But then he's dismissing it as if it's malicious or something it's like shirking responsibility. You don't know, mate. Have you tried finding out why they aren't doing it? You're just blaming them just because they're not doing it on your timeline, or okay, maybe not even in the stated timeline that they're supposed to do, but you yourself said that there could be labor shortages and stuff, and then you're saying, let's take away the grants from them, which could help them get labor for these things, to complete them on time. Can you decide? Claire was talking about federal grants and stuff, right? They can be expanded, blah, 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 blah. He's saying, take them away from other areas to punish them. Can you decide? Just sitting there and yapping away. And then coming in my live channel just oh, did you call me an asshole? Yeah, I called you an asshole. Because you can't seem to decide what you want. Do you want to expand federal grants so that people can hire more labor to get these databases completed? As you acknowledge that there's shortage of labor and resources? Or do you want to take away grants so they're not able to, focus on it at all? Good job. Fucking good job.
Last few years, and she's still not in NamUs is very frustrating to me. Mm-hmm. I filed Freedom of Information requests, and I got some answers, and I think...
So you got answers, but I guess you didn't like them.
People that had initially attempted to foil for Riverhead Jane Doe were...
Where is that? You said you filed the Freedom of Information. Put it on there. Put it on the screen for us to see. Or else you're just saying that you did it. And you got some answers. What were the answers? Please, be specific. Now you're doing a disservice to the Jane Doe, in my opinion. And to the people who are working on that case. You're withholding information from public now. Okay. Cool.
Submitting to the wrong agency. I submitted to a different agency and I got a response saying...
Which agency did you submit it to?
Saying that it was part of an open investigation with the county police. So that was a step forward.
It's not a step forward, dude. That was already happening. They're telling you that's and which agency did you approach? Would love to know that. Again, no demonstration, no audit, no verification of what he's claiming. I'm screeching now.
Yes, but she's still not in NamUs, and there could be reasons for that.
So you acknowledge there are reasons for that. And I get it, it's frustrating. But why are you presenting it as if it's some sort of something malicious? Or something, people are being lazy, or they're shirking, they're not doing their job or something.
Maybe they have identified her and just not released it publicly, and they're looking to build the case. I can understand all of that, but those two lines can be mutually exclusive.
No, they cannot be. Maybe they don't want to, like, what do you mean? They don't want to alert the killer out there or the person they're building the case against. That's such a simple explanation. I don't get it. Why don't you get it? Just because they're not following your standards doesn't mean you get to like demonize them like that and minimize their work.
So
if they could not reach a next of kin, would that prevent it?
The identification? Not necessarily, because if it depends on how cold or old the case is. If they have an identification,
I don't get this question.
They cannot link to any current relatives. They could go forward and announce it anyway.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So
I'm just baffled that like there's actually cases that don't.
Yeah, Claire, that's all you can do. You cannot ask the right questions. You cannot audit. You cannot verify. You cannot document. You just sit there baffled. That's all you do. You don't do any research. You just sit there baffled and amazed
that you have a system that actually works and actually makes it easier to tie things together and get information that links things together.
She does nothing to contribute to this conversation, just like wagging her finger. Why are they doing it?
Together, something happens.
When Raul's giving her the reasons why they might not be doing it. And they're saying, oh, they can be mutually exclusive. How? Please explain to us. Bye. Nice, Wendy. Take care. Have a good day at work. Cheers. Thanks for coming in.
On this end of the country, and you know about it all the way over here in the case, it gets linked together. It can help, especially with the missing. Somebody, the family here on the East Coast hasn't heard from somebody in 20 years, but there's information in the database that they got arrested for shoplifting 5 years ago in California. That at least tells the people that she was alive then, or he or she was alive then. It's important. It's a productive system that actually works in the free flow of information, which baffles me with not a lot of hands.
She's saying a lot of shit without saying a lot of shit. That's what she's doing here.
It's on it all the time. A lot of it is automatic.
Yeah.
And
it is.
No, it's not. I just demonstrated how it's not.
And in a way, it could be a sort of respite for an investigator to just upload the information into NamUs and move on to another case while...
What? Why? Why would they shirk responsibility like that? Why? Why would they go out of the processes that have already been set up to appease you? Okay.
NamUs does its thing over the course of a year.
What does it do?
So, there's...
Again, what does NamUs do? What work are you talking about? Again, just being vague about everything. It's like, bro, what? So Raul over here, he proposes withholding federal grants, including highway or infrastructure money, and from states that do not comply with their NamUs requirements. He discusses Riverhead Jane Doe, says national DNA reviews unavailable without NamUs, and later acknowledges that there might be undisclosed investigative reasons. Clear imagines automatic links producing arrests across the country. So there's real policy concept there, but then it immediately outruns its supporting analysis. Like I explained. There was, like Congress can sometimes conditions, put conditions in federal funding on state compliance. Yeah, but the condition must be legislatively authorized and constitutionally related to the federal program. Coercion and clarity matter. Raul, he just jumps straight to highways or infrastructure without explaining why those funds are the appropriate enforcement instrument for missing person database rules. Before threatening unrelated grants, maybe establish the actual failure. Which statutory deadline applied? Which agency had the duty? whether required information existed, whether an exemption or investigative hold applied, and what enforcement the state law already provides. It's Riverhead Jane Doe discussion that illustrates the uncertainty. He says the absence from NamUs prevents national comparison, then concedes the person may already be identified, the matter may be an active investigation, or authorities may have sent evidence to a specialist laboratory. Those possibilities are not minor footnotes. They directly weaken his confident inference from public absence to official neglect. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to say that there's official neglect going on, but then he just weakens his own argument by giving the reasons why it might not be happening. Then Claire goes on to imagine an automatic match leading police in another state to an alleged offender. This is a hypothetical benefit, not evidence that the proposed workflow would work exactly that way. It's a hypothetical. She gives no example to demonstrate that. DNA associations require legal eligibility, laboratory confirmation, chain of custody confirmations, investigation, interpretation. A database hit can be an investigative lead, not an arrest warrant, you fucking idiot. Accountability should be targeted, evidence-based, and proportionate. Take away highway money is a punishment searching for, a legal design. To errors and fallacies, disproportionate remedy, unrelated federal funds are proposed before demonstrating a tailored connection, argument from public silence, no public NamUs entry is treated as proof, no national forensic work exists, internal inconsistency. Raul, he acknowledges plausible confidential reasons for presenting non-entry as straightforward failure. Hypothetical as evidence, Claire's imagined interstate arrest is used to validate the system without outcome data. Database hit fallacy. A match is treated as though it establishes identity, offender, and probable cause automatically. Bruh. Brick with eyes from the live chat. Maybe his motivations are to cut funding is so he can set up a private program and get federal and state grants for himself. I don't know what he wants. All right, I've been live for more than an hour and a half. I'll take a break, just a 5-minute break, and then we will be back. I also need to change the headphones, and then we will start again. So yeah, just give me 5 minutes. I'll be back. So I'll just put in break time. All right, be right back. is back. Let's do this. All right, 117 to 120. Let's do this.
There's benefits. There's nothing but benefits to
Exactly. It's worth that time to do it, and it should be an automatic process before something.
But Raul himself said that there might be like labor shortages and there might be like other internal processes that, for example, he said, matter may be an active investigation. Authorities may have sent evidence to a specialist laboratory, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you're just undermining your own. Claire doesn't even realize that Raul has already undermined that point, and she's still continuing. Blah blah blah. Repeating same shit.
It gets to be a cold case, to tell you the truth. Like, that happens. Like, we need a better system, I'm sure. And I guess we could expand on that, but that would probably take us like all day. But definitely.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna do it because we are lazy fucks. That's why. Hey, Raul. Oh, sorry. Did I call you a lazy fuck? Oh, did that hurt your fifis? Oh.
That would be a conversation that I would love to do with also an incredible researcher and advocate, Dana Pohl. She is sort of my twin when it comes to the unidentified. We think alike. We get angry at the same things. Dana and I plan to talk for 15 minutes, and it's like 3-4 hours later we get off the phone. And she's so well versed in everything, and that could be a future conversation. I know Dana would absolutely appreciate doing it too. So
hey, I welcome you both. My platform is open to you, Ralph, for any of this. I think it's important. I've stressed that to you privately before all of this. I have no other goal but to spread the information and to help with the advocacy and to put your work out there so that people know how they can help.
So far, you have put in so much misinformation, and you've got so many of your, information wrong. I had to sit there and correct it for you guys. So just because you want to spread information, you have to vet the information before you spread it and make sure that you have got your facts right. What's the point of spreading misinformation, Claire? I do not understand. Hi, MP. Welcome back.
Help you with it, and Dana Pohl is more than welcome to also give me information to do that. I would love to. And
I don't know
think
who
it's a
Dana
valid
Pohl
conversation
is.
on expand.
He just says that they are his twin. I hope not. I hope they're more, like they provide documentation for their work, hopefully, and verification for their work. I hope they're not his twin. It's just
expanding this nationally a little easier to make it more productive in what changes in legislation. The law is tough. We all know it's a slow process, but I have to say I was impressed with the movement of getting it through both the Assembly to the committees for the Assembly and the Senate.
Are you saying that this guy did it, or is he claiming he did it? How are we establishing that causation? I would love to know that.
It takes people, that takes the bolstering of people behind it to get somebody to take notice, to bring it there and advocate for it. You can't just throw something into committee. You need a senator or an assemblyman behind it. And
exactly. Are you saying Paul got that? Raul got that? Sorry, he convinced a senator or a representative. If yes, then where is it? How can we see it somewhere? No.
It's been back and forth for a couple of years, but we have a much more concentrated plan. And now that the Gilgo,
what is the plan? Please expound about it. I would love to know. Just saying you have a plan doesn't mean you have a plan. You're just saying you have a plan. What's the plan? Can you be more specific?
Cases, for the most part, completed. The families themselves can, focus some attention on this, and they can use their voices. For once, I don't have to be the one out there. Nobody hears the message better unless it comes from a family member. They're just the most impactful people to talk about certain things.
And that's important in the support of the community for the family members now to get behind these bills and to help push it. Get it out there, let people know about it. Like you said, get that from your list, which I'll be putting below, like how to contact your local representatives, how to get it forward. Every single email, every single phone call, every single, shall I say, retweet or re-X. How do you say that?
I
Repost.
say tweet. It's
Repost.
Twitter. Yeah,
It's
repost.
always Twitter, right? It's always going to be the
Always.
word. I can't. I can't. But every sharing of the information, every single piece of that matters a lot. Don't think it's inconsequential. We all can't be you, Raul. You're so diligent and precise and just empathetic and informative and just. I have to ask you: are you a one-man team? The amount of productivity that you do in a week is astounding.
Can you stop licking his balls, Claire? Stop it. Hold him accountable for once.
It's coming up.
Cases,
like Claire says, a proposal would probably move once it reaches a committee because she cannot imagine negative opinions about it. She later says that every share matters and repeatedly describes Paul as precise, empathetic, and extraordinarily productive. Claire's political forecast is an appeal to her own ability to imagine opposition. Oh, maybe his plan is like Trump's healthcare plan, the concept of a plan? Yeah, probably. So far, that's what it sounds like. Like, a bill can have a sympathetic title and still raise objections about the drafting. Or cost, duplication, privacy, federalism, constitutional limits, administrative burden, or unintended consequences. Committees do not just ask whether the goal sounds kind. They ask what the text does. Like, quote unquote, I cannot imagine anybody being against this. That's not evidence of legislative viability. Hits no, stop it. Like, that's not, I cannot imagine anybody being against it. That's not like evidence of legislative viability. It is evidence that the interview has not invited strongest opposing case. Then the conversation returns to praise by like, oh, he's so precise, he's so empathetic, informative, astounding productivity. Those may be sincere impressions, but they're not responsive to the factual errors made about the New York deadlines and CODIS architecture and other stuff that we saw yesterday and we went through yesterday. This is a classic credibility reset. A technical claim is not examined, and the guest's moral resume is being refreshed here again and again. And then the audience is being told that every share matters. Sometimes it does. Sometimes indiscriminate resharing spreads stale contact details, inaccurate ages, duplicate records, unsupported suspect theories, or images of a family they don't want amplified, or misinformation in this case. Responsible sharing means checking the source, the date, status, and the requested action, not treating every repost as inherently beneficial. Errors and fallacies. Appeal to personal incredulity. Claire cannot imagine opposition, so opposition is treated as unlikely or unreasonable. Optimism bias. Moral popularity is confused with legislative passage. Halo maintenance. Praise follows technical error and protects the guest's credibility from correction. Unqualified activism. All sharing is presumed beneficial without data hygiene safeguards. Quantity bias. Productivity and post volume are treated as evidence of precision. A committee meeting is where it happens, like who opposes this and what's the actual text that is being examined there. Like, bruh. Moving on, 121.49. Where is it? Here we go. Hold on. My bad. Wrong scrolls. Oh dear. Come on, my screens. Okay, here we go. 121, yeah.
Post for us, it's particularly New York.
I do a lot of supportive work for advocates on their own agendas, which is why I'm in California right now. I'm working on the map in California because I want to get that. California has one of the most people on the map. It's got almost 3,840 people on it that are missing. So I'm working on getting that in so I can assist an advocate out there in what they're doing and use the map towards identifying possibles and patterns and geographic markers, things like that. So there's a lot of nuance that this simple map that's become everything to my life.
And this map is for the unidentified and the missing, the one that we're speaking to, the NamUs. Okay, is there a map kind of nationally, or at least like for our area, that's more for the unsolved? Do they have like a similar?
So in my naive envision 4 years ago when I started it, it was, I'm going to ultimately get all the unidentified on, and then all the missing, and then all the unresolved cases. But it's too big of a task.
So now it's not all. Before you said it, everyone was there. Now it's not? Okay. What the hell?
So as I cross unresolved, I'll add them in. I allow the process just to happen organically. But my daily
Organically? What do you mean by that? Huh? What's the process at first? Can you tell us the process, please?
routine begins at like 5:30 a.m. every day, and I catch up on what name is updated the day before. And then whatever state that I'm working on, I try to devote at least 2 hours to adding in that state's missing, since I already have the unidentified all on. So that's the initial morning routine, which has tertiary tasks that I do. At the same time as running the map, I also run an unidentified tattoo database. So there's that in tandem with it. And then I have several other private maps that are either for particular cold case advocacy groups. I was asked to do the map for the BTK cold case task force a few years ago, which I gave a map to Karen to hand off, and I built that spreadsheet and list up.
I don't know what he's talking about, and there's no way of verifying it. No way.
So that's on file. Other maps that I'm currently working on that are not public yet at the moment is a sex worker map of missing, murdered, and unidentified.
I thought you said that the agencies shouldn't be talking about such stuff. Like, don't talk about the victims as like being prostitutes or sex workers. But now you're going to make a map for that. You're not following your own standards. Wasn't that your initial problem? Hold on. Here we go. This is what they were talking about, right? Come on.
Was in that case.
And from a media perspective, they know the word prostitute or hooker is going to get, a second glance, whereas just a name, 25 years old, whatever, is not going to be enough. And
so why are you going now with sex worker? I thought you didn't like that. Why is sex worker okay and prostitute and hooker are not? Number one. And why are okay? It's okay for you to make a map based on that. Why not just leave it like, I don't get it. Yeah, I understand. Like, I gave my reasonings why, news media outlets might be using that. The context, the circumstances of a victim, how they were exploited, and etc. matters. But for some reason, if they highlight that, it's not right. But if you are trying to highlight it, it's okay. I do not understand that. I do not. So yeah, please.
That are not public yet at the moment is a sex worker map of missing, murdered, and unidentified sex workers, where you could identify an unidentified candidate as a possible sex worker. We put that in.
Are you able to work with the federal VICAP like that?
So Raul says that California has like roughly 3,840 missing people on his map, and then describes private maps and a Hadoop database, says he created material for a BTK cold case task force, and is building a map involving missing, murdered, and unidentified sex workers. This may represent a great deal of serious labor. It also raises some questions that Claire doesn't ask. Where are the figures coming from? What date do they represent? How are duplicates handled? How are resolved cases removed? How are uncertain locations coded? What separates an official fact from an advocate note? What is the correction process when a source changes? It's raining. Good. Finally. Good on you, dude. Yay. It's raining, man. Hallelujah. It's raining, man. Hey, hey, hey. It's raining, man. Hallelujah. All right. So, right, where are these figures coming from? What date do they represent? How the duplicates are being handled? I'll repeat it again. How are the resolved cases removed? How are uncertain locations coded? What separates an official fact from an advocate note? What is the correction process when a source changes? Also, private maps involving vulnerable people raises additional concerns. Access control, data retention, doxing risk, unverified occupation labels, family consent, and the possibility that a speculative pattern becomes public accusation. And this statement about producing a map for a BTK task force is an appeal to confidential authority unless independently corroborated. Confidentiality may be entirely appropriate. That's fine, but then the claim cannot simultaneously function as public validation of methodology. You cannot do that. You can't have your cake and eat it too. A sex worker map could reveal overlooked patterns and institutional bias. Sure, it could also reproduce bias if possible sex worker, quote unquote, is inferred from stereotypes or incomplete records. The methodology matters more than the moral intention here. And Claire responds almost entirely to the workload. She asks how he finds the time, not how he protects the data. Claire gets impressed very easily, I have seen. I am not. So yeah. Errors and fallacies. Appeal to workload. Labor intensity is treated as a proxy for system quality. Appeal to anonymous or confidential authority. Unverifiable task force involvement is used to enhance credibility. Either keep it confidential or make it public entirely. If it's supposed to be confidential, you cannot use it to enhance your credibility. I'm sorry, that's not how it works. Methodological omission. No discussion of provenance, error correction, security, permissions, or false classification. Volume bias. Thousands of entries sound authoritative even without audit metrics. Moral risk blind spot. Beneficent intent is assumed to neutralize the privacy and misclassification risks. The most important question about a sensitive database is not how early its creator wakes up. Let's just say that. I wake up at 4:30 because I start my work at 6:30 a.m. And oh, right-handed says from the live chat, hot take, it's raining men and let the bodies hit the floor are about the same event from different points of view. Okay. I'm not spending my brain power on that at the moment. Maybe later. Moving on. Finally, we are at the 30-minute mark in 2 hours. Fuck. All right. 129.10. That's where we are going. Is that what we're doing? Yeah, 129. 129 minutes, 10 seconds. Here we go. Bruh. Here we go.
It would.
You are so well branded with it. We all know you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not speaking for the world here, but I'm kind of speaking for the world. Like, that's how we identify you.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
And I knew that I couldn't. And I spent weeks and I had help. I had other families of other cases and throwing me ideas and suggestions. And we all just agreed that just leave it at CatchLISK until something comes out of the heavens saying this is the absolute way to go. That is so profound that then we'll see. But, you know, I on certain platforms, I keep the CatchLISK logo still on. But with Gilgo committee and the law that we want to push, I'm using that as an icon, as an avatar to just.
Like, who are we? Would love to know that. You're saying you have the family's permission, but what? I wanted to rain here soon. It's been getting 110 Fahrenheit or 43.33 degrees Celsius plus. Oh my God, that's hot, man. Holy moly. Is it humid or is it just hot?
You know, keep the word Gilgo to draw attention and leverage it in a positive way now instead of people seeing Gilgo and thinking serial killer.
There's
So branding and family approval are being used as evidence that the brand should persist. Claire says that Raul is so well branded and that we quote unquote we all know him, and jokingly speaks for the world, or she's saying I don't speak for the world. Raul says families helped him decide to retain the CatchLISK and that he uses the Gilgo name to draw attention positively. This is not a major factual error, but it reveals how identity and advocacy are fused. Claire moves from I know this brand, quote unquote, to we all know you, quote unquote, and then half jokingly claims, like I think so, to speak for the world, right? Raul says family agreed the brand should remain. Which families? How many? Was there disagreement? Did they approve a specific logo, the continued name, or the broader use of Gilgo-linked identity? How was the permission obtained or the agreement obtained? Where's the record of it? The interview just treats some supportive relationships as though they confer representative authority over an entire public case identity. Yeah, it can be sensible to use an established name for continuity, but a brand built around a serial killer case can create incentives, attention, status, access, and audience growth, even when the creator's intentions are sincere. The correct response is not to deny that those incentives exist. It's to create safeguards so that case-centered branding does not make continued ambiguity or conflict professionally rewarding. And Claire's praise never explores that tension, ever. 30% to 60%. Usually when it's around like 70%, 75%, that's when you start expecting rain. So you might be getting rain soon, my fella. So errors and fallacies, false consensus, personal recognition becomes quote unquote, we all know you. Selective authority, supportive family input is treated as broad communal endorsement. Brand mission conflation, preserving a successful brand is equated with preserving the advocacy mission. Conflict of interest or mission, attention incentives created by case branding are not acknowledged at all, nor questioned. And then, so yeah, I'm interested in knowing how did he obtain that permission or that agreement, and where's the demonstration for it? Where's the documentation or verification for it? There's no way of knowing. Right now is 28.8 degrees Celsius, but feels like 92. 72% humidity, and it's 8:40 a.m. Yeah, my weather says it's supposed to rain Monday or Wednesday. Yeah. It should rain soon for you. Good luck, Athens, with the rain and the temperature. Look after yourself. Hydrate yourself. That's very important. All right? Make sure you're hydrating yourself. Moving on. So 1:30:14 to 1:33, 1 hour 33.
So much more still to it because, yes, we have the convictions. We have 8, right?
Yep.
Identified and closed, okay? But we can't deny there's more. We can't deny that it's a field of so many more there. That it's just like, because it's not tied in to this particular, accused and convicted person.
Well, it's
We don't
funny.
know if it was-
A week after the arrest, a member of law enforcement called me up and said, "You need to change your name. What are you going to change it to? CatchLISK?" I'm like, "No, because that implies I caught him," which I did not. But Lisk is caught. Time to move on. I'm like, yeah, no, because we
There's
don't
still-
know how many he killed.
Yeah, I
So-
would ask.
Oh. So you are quick to like judge people and throw judgments on other people's conduct, but you're not going to accept criticism for your own conduct. And this is the conflict I'm talking about, right? Conflict of interest. Apparently, according to him, a law enforcement officer contacted them and said, maybe you should change the name because, the cases are closed and move on. And you said no. Why? Did the family said no? Or did you just, on your own, omission, you were like, yeah, nah, I'm not going to do it. Because it benefits you. Personally. If we are to believe you, right? If we believe that, whatever you have made claims so far are true, so law enforcement told you, move on. But you said no. Why did you say no? Did you consult with the families before saying no? Or did you just assume authority? I thought you respected the family's authority. Or what the families wanted. Did you ask the families before you went back and said no? Just wondering. Just wondering. Oh yeah, this heat is good to air dryish stuff. That's true. Yeah, laundry.
So are you saying that
benefits.
every single remains that you found during that investigation and all over the area have been identified? No. And this man was around for a very long time, and we now have history, how far back he went. Are you saying that's the only one he did in 1997, the only one he did in 1993? Are you saying that he was inactive for...
That's not what they're saying. They're saying the man has been convicted of crimes. The guy has been caught. Move on. That's what they're saying. You can advocate for the victims or the people who are still unidentified, the unidentified remains or the Jane Does, without using, this guy's name, because he's in jail now. Yeah, you can advocate for them, and it might come back again that he's the one responsible for it. You can go back then. But what they're saying is he's already in jail. Why are you using his name for sensationalism? That's what the point is clear. You idiot.
For all this other time in between, law enforcement can't say that.
Right.
Maybe you can change it to CatchLISK thoroughly. There you go.
Oh, I like that too.
There you go. Yeah, feel free to use any of those. Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's still CatchLISK, because it's not catch Rex Harriman. Let's just say that, okay?
Right.
It's not one unidentified body. It's not one area of that dumping ground. It's not, there's still more. There's still so much more to go. I guess they were just feeling their oats, we got them, and it's but nobody's work is done yet. Nobody's work is done yet.
Nobody is saying that. Nobody said that. You're just making assumptions, Claire. Again, mind reading.
For real.
Yeah.
And may not ever be.
Yeah, and that's the sad part.
So he's giving himself permission. So by adding that, it may never be, it may never be complete. The work will never be done. So he's giving himself permission to use that title and use that name for himself forever. That's what he's doing. He's giving himself that permission. He didn't go to the families to ask, apparently. There's no talk of families here at all now, right? It's all about him, what he wants. I thought you respected the families, dude. Or what they wanted. You respected that. But for some reason, you didn't consult the families here and immediately said, nah. Okay, I see what your priorities are. This is the telling point, which tells us what his priorities actually are. what he wants, not what the families want.
So astounded by the amount of work that you put out every day, because it is such a volume.
Close your mouth, Claire. There's something drooling, there's something drooling here. Stop.
I can't even retweet all of it, to tell you. But
Yeah,
the amount.
When you sit at home on your desktop all day, yeah, you do find stuff to do all that retweeting. Just saying.
That you get out there, it just shows us that it's not done. Like, none of this is actually, there's so much more to it. It's so much of a bigger picture than what they want to narrow it down to. Although I give them their win. Proud of the commission. I'm proud of the changes they made. I'm proud that they picked up the ball and they ran forward and they did a different type of task force. I'm happy about all of that. But to think that it's case closed on this part. Like,
right.
It's still their territory. There's still more to go.
So again, Claire makes an argument from ignorance. She does mind reading a lot. She says that there are 8 convictions and that we quote unquote can't deny there's more. Raul says nobody knows how many, Herman killed. Claire points to the gaps in the known timeline and unidentified remains, arguing law enforcement cannot say he was inactive. First, the count needs precision. For these two who have been working closely, like one who's a true crime person who talks about this a lot, Claire, and then there's another one who has been closely working with the families of the victims. They don't even know. He doesn't even correct her when she says that there are 8 convictions. Herman pleaded guilty to murdering 7 women and admitted killing an 8th, Karen Vergara, although he was not charged in her death. Calling that 8 convictions is inaccurate. Can you get your facts straight and accurate, please? Thank you very much. Come on. You guys are supposed to be passionate about this thing. Come on. Can you get your facts right? Both of you? For some reason, Raul doesn't correct her on this, even though he has been working very closely with this case. A simple Google search told me that Claire doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. And then second, saying that we cannot deny there are more is not the same as more are proven. Again, these people think just because they can speak English, whatever the fuck comes out of their mouth makes sense. This is argument from ignorance or argument from incredulity. Yes, there may be additional victims. Investigators may continue reviewing unresolved cases, but gaps between known crimes do not establish murders in those gaps. Can you understand that? Does that go through your head, your brain? Knock, knock. Unidentified remains in the region do not establish that Herman was responsible. You're going fucking backwards. Long activity periods create a question, yes, but not an answer. Claire's rhetorical questions are structured so that law enforcement's inability to prove inactivity becomes evidence of activity. That's the reverse of burden of proof, as I said, going backwards. Can you prove he did nothing in those years, quote unquote, is not an evidentiary standard. The relevant question is whether evidence links him to a particular missing person or death or not. Raul goes with a careful formulation, quote unquote, we don't know how many, and that's defensible. Claire repeatedly turns uncertainty into directional certainty. Because the number is unknown, there must be more. The investigation can remain open-minded without publicly annexing every unresolved Long Island case to one killer. And Raul, you just said no to a suggestion from a law enforcement officer. What was your criteria for it? Your criteria doesn't make sense to me. And again, did you ask the families? Doesn't sound like it. You didn't say anything about the families in this. Oh no, I said no. I went back to the families after the law enforcement officer approached me and I asked them and they said no. So I went back to the officer and said no. You just assumed authority and said no. I thought the families, wishes mattered to you. maybe not in this case because this brings you notoriety, attention, access, isn't it? I don't know. So errors and fallacies, factual imprecision. 7 murder convictions plus an admission to an 8th killing is not 8 convictions. Argument from ignorance. The absence of proof that there are more victims becomes proof that there are more. Burden shifting. Law enforcement is challenged to prove inactivity rather than proponents proving a link. Pattern completion. Temporal gaps are filled with assumed offenses. Possibility to probability slide. Quote unquote could be becomes quote unquote cannot deny. Just because there's an empty year on the timeline, that doesn't become evidence or something happened, that something happened. Fucking bullshit. Moving on. 134.27. God, so stupid.
When you have the time, I know you don't, so I'm very honored you took the time.
I will make the time. I think it's important to be out there and talk about the things that are important to talk about, not the salaciousness of things. It can come out as part of the conversation, but the conversation has got to be about something more definable. For me, I look at it like a conversation's got to not only be productive, it has to produce results of some sort, whether it's understanding of a case or a person, or understanding the map a little bit more, or understanding the process, understanding what to do if your loved one goes missing or is an unresolved cold case. Like, these are a lot of the conversations that I make time to have. And because I think it's important. And I think there's incredible advocates out there that are more impactful than what I do, and have less of a voice. And I want to fight to sort of equal that and give them, amplify
give them their voices. Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's important. Everybody does something for a family member, and that's the most beautiful thing. But how do we collectively amplify that and impact change? And not only just the change in the one particular victim, but how do we correct things that need to be corrected, whether it's a law or a mandate or a process. Like all of those things, it's more than just a ripple in a pond. It could be a ripple in an ocean if we do it the right way.
Not just for those that are going through it now, but for any of us that may go through it in the future. We never know. And to help remove, I think this is what you're saying, remove those obstacles to actually getting a process that can be productive for everybody, to make that process from the start better for everyone involved, including law enforcement, so we don't have 30-year-old cases, 40-year-old cases sitting on the books.
Exactly.
If we improve the process from the start for everyone involved, it can only be a win for all of them. But I know, rose-colored glasses that I wear that everybody says, like, that's my perfect world I like to see. I know it's not the one we live in, but that doesn't mean I can't strive for that vision.
Exactly.
So productive conversation is defined by producing results, and then system reform is being promised too broadly here. Raul says conversations must produce results, and that coordinated advocacy can correct laws, mandates, and processes. Claire says improving the process from the start would prevent 30 and 40-year-old cases, quote unquote, can only be a win, unquote. She doesn't realize that 30, 40 years ago, there was no DNA. Like, DNA is a very recent thing. This idiot doesn't realize that. So, yeah, and there might be many reasons, like DNA, that couldn't be processed, that resulted in cold cases or cases that couldn't be solved. But moving on. There's a good aspiration here. I'll give it that. Conversations should be useful and systems should reduce avoidable delay. But not every responsible discussion produces an immediate measurable result. Research can clarify uncertainty, identify the evidence is insufficient. Like I said, DNA is just recent. It's not like it's not that old. And then identify that narrow, all this can narrow a hypothesis or explain why an apparent solution would cause harm. quote-unquote not conclusion yet can be the most productive result also. Claire then says process improvement can only be a win and suggests it could prevent decades-old cases. That is one directional policy fantasy. And she says that, like, I'm looking through it through rose-gold glasses. Every process change has costs and trade-offs. Faster publication may increase error. Broad public access may increase privacy risk. Mandatory fields may delay urgent entry when information is incomplete. Automatic suggestions may generate false leads. Retention rules may conflict with expungement or family wishes. This is not an argument against reform. It is an argument for measuring reform. A useful plan would define outcomes, time to entry, completeness, match yield, false positive burden, family satisfaction, laboratory turnaround, investigative action, and error correction speed. Quote-unquote ripple in an ocean is an inspirational language. It is not an evaluation framework. Again, just saying stuff and not saying a lot. So errors and fallacies, like outcome absolutism. A conversation is valued only if it is visibly producing a result. One-sided policy accounting. Benefits are named, cost and trade-offs disappear for some reason. Nirvana framing, again, we saw that previously also. A better process is imagined to eliminate long-term cases rather than reduce some avoidable delays. Quote-unquote can only be a win fallacy. Any policy with coercion, data, or resource allocation can produce adverse effects. Metaphor substitution. Inspirational imagery replaces measurable objectives. Like, you need to stress test these things before you start with, quote-unquote can only be a win. 138.21. Let's go. Reaching there, guys. Reaching there.
There's always going to be detractors. There's always going to be trolls. There's always going to be some naysayer that would rather, invest 15 minutes critiquing my grammar or sentence structure.
I don't think so. I critiqued your grammar or sentence structure. I didn't do that. So
Yes.
Any of the substance of what I'm putting out there. So, to people,
I think so. I did criticize all the substance of what you have been putting out there. So you're welcome. You're welcome.
Like that, I see that their obsession is me and not what I'm saying. So I can't help.
How fragile and self-important do you think you are? Like this guy, oh my God, they're obsessed with me. Oh my God, I'm such a big thing. What? You think too highly of yourself, sir. Too much.
People like that. And
it happens everywhere. I feel you. Like when they totally miss the intent.
Yeah, I've tried to explain and have a conversation with them, but that's not.
He came in my live chat and said, oh, I will respond after I watch all of your quote-unquote critique. And then today, the only thing he could come up with was, oh, you called me an asshole. Okay. You didn't try to explain to me anything. Hey, Victoria, how you doing?
Not their intent. Their intent is to be irreverent and to bring ruckus and distraction. And the ultimately powerful thing I can do is give them no oxygen.
Doesn't mean the criticism goes away, dude. Just saying.
But
there's power in that. I have found there's a lot of power in that. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to fight back, and I have a very long memory, and I have the Google Drive 2 terabyte plan, so I can just screenshot and store.
Just 2 terabytes, dude. You're so cute. So critics are being converted into trolls here, whose real obsession is Paul. Yes, still tearing bigots apart. Yes, I'm good. So Raul over here is saying that detractors would rather criticize his grammar and then substance. Concludes their obsession is him. I don't know how I like. Okay. Yeah. Certainly, you are everyone's obsessed with you, dude. Yeah. And then he states that the intent is ruckus and distraction, and says he stores screenshots for later passive-aggressive use. Claire validates giving them no oxygen. I'm like, dude, go ahead. Go for it. Screenshot this. Go for it. This is the point where an interview about advocacy becomes a self-sealing defense against criticism. This is what it is. A self-sealing defense. Some critics can undoubtedly fixate on grammar, provoke conflict, or behave maliciously, but Raul takes that subset and uses it to explain detractors as a class. They are trolls, naysayers, obsessed with him, and not interested in substance. This is motive reading and poisoning the well. It makes future criticism easier to dismiss without answering it. And that's why I don't believe a word that comes out of this guy's mouth. A guy like him should be open to criticism. A person like I do can criticize sentence structure because ambiguity affects accuracy. A person can criticize methodology and also dislike the creator. A rude critic like me, because I called him an asshole, can still identify a real error. Intent and truth are separate questions. Raul. Then he says the powerful response is no oxygen, but immediately describes a 2 terabyte screenshot archive or the Google Drive that he keeps for later use because he can be passive aggressive. That is not disengagement. It is deferred retaliation, delayed retaliation. Like, preserving evidence of harassment can be prudent, sure. Announcing a private archive as future ammunition is rhetorically intimidating and entirely irrelevant to whether a critic's factual point is correct or not. Claire shouldn't ask an example. She shouldn't ask for an example of a substantive criticism and his answer. Instead, she endorses the psychological story about the critic. Yeah, 2 terabyte is so cute, isn't it? So cute. Bro, I've been working, like I was a witness in a case, right? That has been going for 3 years. Do you know how much terabyte of data I have for that case, for my statement? How much data I collected to write my statement? Yeah, it's just local storage. You have 2 terabytes nowadays. I have 7, 10, 15 terabytes if I'm not wrong. What the fuck? So yeah, errors and fallacies, poisoning the well. Critics are morally discredited before their arguments are examined. And that's what he did here when he came in the live chat. He dismissed me before he even, examined even one of my arguments. Bulverism. This is a new one I found. The supposed psychological reason for criticism replaces a response to the criticism. Hasty generalization. Bad faith examples are extended to detractors generally. Genetic fallacy. A claim is discounted because of who made it or why they allegedly made it. Internal contradiction. Quote unquote, no oxygen is paired with archival material or archiving material for later passive aggressive use. And this is a good one. Appeal to intimidation. The screenshot archive signals future reputational leverage rather than reasoned rebuttal. Dude, a 2 terabyte folder can preserve receipts. It cannot make the criticism inside them false. All right? Who the fuck does he think he is? Oh God. Oh God. All right, moving on.
Store it away for use at a later date, which I do, because I can be passive aggressive.
Oh yeah, I can be passive aggressive, guys. Oh my God.
You know what? That's just human nature. I can't fault you on that. I definitely.
Human nature to be passive aggressive in the face of criticism. Sure, Claire. Yes, of course. Of course, you would agree with that.
Have that. I definitely have to go buy a new pair of petty pants here and there.
Yeah.
And it's not just an East Coast thing. We can tell everybody together, right? Like this, no,
Exactly.
this national people, everybody does it. Like, but
So, but all of that helps build my own character,
Mhm.
Like, you're physically affected by
This is not character building, like keeping screenshots to be passive aggressive later in the face of criticism. That's not character building. That's not a good character at all. And that's why I don't believe anything that comes out of your mouth, Raul. I rest my case.
by it. You're emotionally affected by it. And people will put out outrageously false stories about somebody, denigrate a victim and just terrible things. But everything that I've done
I have not denigrated one victim, even once, throughout my criticism of this asshole. And him trying to use victims as the shield here against the criticism against him. You, sir, are full of shit, and you should be ashamed of yourself for using victims as a shield against criticism against you. Shame on you. Shame on you. You should be ashamed. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
gone through is nothing compared to what a family member.
Listen to this again, what he said. It's about criticism against him and how he goes on, right? Exactly, I was going to say what character? This character using victims as a shield against criticism that is being levied against him. Criticism about him. He wants to shield himself from that criticism by using the victims here. And fuck you for doing that, dude.
And people will put out outrageously false stories about somebody, denigrate a victim and just terrible things. But everything that I've gone through is nothing compared to what a family member has gone through. Like, it's just
that's
not
grounding. Yeah.
So,
That is so grounding of you, because like you keep your focus on it's horrible what I'm going through. When it physically, I mean, I understand it physically does affect you when you have people coming like that, and people get in the way of the good work or the message, or just totally rewriting history and misinterpreting and just only putting the bad out there.
Yeah,
but you balance it with the good.
Victoria, precisely. Criticism against him has nothing to do with the victims. I don't know why he's dragging the victims where criticism about him is being, spoken about. And that's why I don't believe I don't believe a word he says about his advocacy. Advocacy. Full of shit. Full of shite. The Athens from the live chat said, my external is 13 terabyte and I've had it for around a decade and have only used 1.35 terabyte of it. I have it in chunks so that I don't lose data. Because I had an experience last time. I had a 17 terabyte drive and it short-circuited and I almost lost all my data. Luckily, it was still in my PC. I hadn't deleted it from my PC, but it was like, fuck. So I have chunks of terabytes, like 4, 7, maximum I think I've gone 10, if I'm not wrong. Somewhere. All right.
You get that good feeling when you get to speak with those family members and they understand where you're coming from, and
the dude got more bullshit than a cattle farmer.
Just keep going. You keep refueling each other's tanks back and forth, and
just sit in an echo chamber and just keep patting each other's backs. Let's just don't listen to criticism at all.
That is true, and you can't forget about that, because at times when I had attacks at me, the first person to reach out to me is a family member going, I support you. This is nonsense. And, I may not be able to say it publicly, but I want you to know personally that I stand with you.
Sure, Jen.
How incredible is that for me?
That is incredible. It matters so much more, I think, sometimes in public. Like, it's easy to go and answer a tweet or something. Well, for them,
so he's just avoiding showing anything by saying, oh, the family's member don't want to come public. That is so convenient, isn't it? Number one. And if they don't want to come public, why are you sitting here and talking about it publicly? Why even mention it? Again, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Either it's confidential or it's not. You can't have parts of it confidential and then use it to boost your, your credibility. Yeah, CAD is bigger than screenshots. I get it. Yep. 6 terabyte in use. I don't know how much is not in use. Yeah, that's possible. So like Claire says, passive aggressive behavior is human nature and she cannot fault Raul for that. Then they discuss the emotional and physical effect of criticism. Raul says family members privately support him during attacks, and Claire says that matters more than public responses. So convenient, isn't it? Just claim that, oh yeah, the family supports me, and then just like dismiss all the criticism. Being hurt by attacks is human. That does not make every retaliatory behavior harmless or wise. Claire's, quote unquote, it's human nature is an appeal to nature because an impulse is common. It is treated as excusable for some reason. Jealousy, anger, and revenge are human too. The ethical question is how one manages them when speaking in the name of vulnerable families. Speaking of vulnerable families, so how are you going to manage your anger, jealousy, or revenge, or your passive aggressiveness? You've got a responsibility here, dude. The conversation then uses a private support from family members as validation. That support may be emotionally important and may show that those particular people value Raul's work. It does not establish that every disputed factual claim is correct or that every critic is malicious. That's just emotional support. That's not validation or verification or audit or documentation of his work. That's not what it is. It's just emotional support. A family member can reasonably support an advocate and still be mistaken about, the NamUs law. A critic can be unpleasant and still correctly identify a copyright error. Personal loyalty and proposition truth operate on different tracks. Those are exclusive on different tracks. And then Claire goes on to say that private approval matters more. Emotionally, sure. It does, but it does not carry the greater evidentiary weight merely because it is intimate or private. It's just emotional. That's it. There's still the evidentiary, weight that you have to, pass, or the barrier, if I might say. And this is how in-groups become epistemically closed. Trusted insiders confirm the advocate, outsiders are trolls, insider support then proves the outsiders were wrong. That's an echo chamber, classic echo chamber. So errors and fallacies appeal to nature, common retaliatory impulses are treated as ethically self-justifying, appeal to in-group authority, supportive families are used as proof against external criticism, emotional evidentiary conflation, what feels more meaningful is treated as more probative, self-sealing social proof, insider approval and outsider suspicion reinforce each other. Failure to separate claim from claimant. The truth of criticism is never independently assessed. And that's what he did right now in the live chat when he came. He's like, you're calling me an asshole. Tells me about you. Okay, sure, but what about my criticism, dude? Anything to say about that? No? Oh, okay. Private reassurance can steady your emotions. And you can use it to steady your emotions. But it cannot correct a statute or misinformation. Like, what are you doing? Moving on.
Then
Yeah, and I always say, to some of these detractors, it's, some people can and then they will do, and other people can't, so they try to take it apart, and that's fine. I've had a family member tell me that when it came to Gilgo, I'm the public face of the case, which I shied away from immediately. Like, that's a burden. I don't want that. But the reality.
But you implored the families. You implored the family to set up that Facebook page. So why are you shying away now? Oh, when it comes to accountability, you're gonna shy away? Okay.
Is in the LISK space, there's been no one that can articulate facts the way I can. Like, I know.
Oh my God, the self-praising here, the pat on the back. Somebody pat this guy on the back head on his bald head too. Such a good job. You're such a good job.
I'm an expert in this, which I hate that title because I never lost a family member to violent crime, so I'm not an expert. I may know facts and I may know dates and I may know a lot of things, but I don't know what they went through, so I'm never going to be an expert. But I can absolutely strengthen my own resolve knowing I have the support of family members. And
that you're so well informed that you have the information to back up. Maybe you don't want to call yourself an expert, but you are one well-informed advocate.
So, Raul says more people can do, and Raul says some people can do and do while people who cannot act. What the fuck am I saying? So Raul says some people can and do while people who cannot act try to take the work apart. He says nobody in the LISK space can articulate facts as he can. Then he says he's an expert, but also not an expert because he has not lost a relative to a violent crime. Claire calls him a well-informed advocate. This is one of the clearest ad hominem passages in the interview. Those who can do, those who can't criticize. Those who can do, those who can't criticize. And then dismisses the criticism by speculating about the critic's incapacity. It does not answer one argument. Review, audit, peer criticism, and adversarial testing are themselves form of work. How do you think people write their papers in journals? Do you think their professors don't critique them on it? Just because they're not doing the work at that point doesn't mean they're not sitting there, they can't critique it. So yeah, peer criticism and review, audit, verification, they're all forms of work. I work in quality risk management and occupational safety, health and safety risk management. Audits are a form of work. I go to other sites and I audit their work. Just because I didn't do the work doesn't mean I cannot audit it. What are you talking about? Bridges are inspected by people who did not pour the concrete. That does not make cracks imaginary. Then Raul says that nobody can articulate the LISK facts the way he can. And he didn't correct Claire when she said that there were 8 convictions. This is this claim that he makes is an unsupported superlative. It cannot be reconciled with the factual and technical errors already presented in this conversation. And his expert discussion also equivocates between 2 kinds of expertise. Subject matter expertise can come from sustained study, transparent methodology, and reliable knowledge. Lived experience is a different form of authority. A person need not lose a relative to a violent crime to know dates or how many number of convictions were there, or the records or forensic systems. Conversely, suffering a loss does not make someone an expert on statutes or databases. Yes, auditing is very important. You are right, Victoria. So Raul's humility about not sharing families' lived experience, yeah, appropriate, but it does not logically cancel or prove technical expertise. Claire has a safer label, like quote-unquote well-informed advocate, is reasonable as an impression. It should not immunize him from source checking or, again, auditing or verification. So again, errors and fallacies, circumstantial ad hominem. Critics are dismissed as people incapable of doing useful work. Anti-intellectual cliche. Critique is framed as the opposite of action rather than a quality control function. Quality control, my man. Unsupported superlative, quote-unquote, no one can articulate the facts as he can. And he never corrected, Claire when she said there were 8 convictions. Just saying. Equivocation on expertise, technical knowledge, and lived experience are merged and separated opportunistically. Self-attestation. Expertise is asserted through personal comparison rather than demonstrated standards. In the end, people who can, they do. And people who care whether it was done right and correctly, they review, like I am doing it. Moving on, 143.43, let's see.
The map, people offer to help me on the map all the time. And I'm like, yeah, it would expedite things. It would speed things up, but it wouldn't be me learning about each person I put on the map. And it's got to be about quality and not,
But you have never told us what your quality control is. Just saying.
Reaching certain thresholds. And not to say,
yeah, again, what's your quality control? What's your methodology for your quality control? And what are the thresholds you're talking about?
someone else do it, but I have an obligation to myself that I made to every person I put on that map is to read as much as
so that nobody can, again, audit you. Nobody can fact check or reference check or cross check you, your methodology, your quality, filters. No one can do that. So of course you're going to keep it all with you. Sure, sir, sure.
As is available about their case before I move on to the next.
Something to look into. Hopefully we can find you somebody that can help write the programs where you still are in control with what gets in the map, but they can put it into an automated process that people put the information in, you screen it running, and then you just have to push a button to get it there.
There are some bigger...
And you still have control.
This thing with programming just makes everything like push a button thing. Claire is so naive. She's so fucking naive.
Yeah, there's bigger plans in the works.
What are they?
I just, one, don't have the bandwidth to devote entirely to that. And there are other people doing it on my behalf. But there are plans to do something more comprehensive with the map.
What?
That would be amazing.
Like what?
I'm not able to really even share what it could truly look like. I've been provided a whole lot of insight and offers about it. And I just need to get through certain things before
I just hope that your example of what the map can actually do will help motivate a more productive national
What's
map.
the example? What example did he provide? What example? He just made vague claims. That's it. Yeah, you just push a button. Claire is so naive about technology and about programs and shit, and about interfaces, how interfaces are created. She's so naive. Oh my god. Especially in this case, where there's so much in these crime cases. It can work that way, but not where you're managing databases. It's not just pushing one button. Just saying. You have to filter a lot of shit, and then you have to make sure that the data that's going in there is, is filtered appropriately. So you have to set up, filters for that too, or programs for that too.
You don't have to spend your resources. You're just providing information to get it there, which is what you do regularly anyway. Why should you be putting out all the resources for a map that should be a national, federally funded thing anyway?
So Raul says he declines map help because he wants personally to learn about each person. Claire proposes automation and then says a similar national map should be federally funded so he does not bear the resource cost. Yeah, it's NamUs. Fucking idiots. That's the database. I don't know about the map, but yeah, there's a database already there. Personal attention can improve care and context. It can also make a system dependent on one exhausted individual. Raul frames delegation as a threat to quality because it would no longer be him learning every case. Then make it a general process. Write it down, document the quality process. So he's just creating a founder bottleneck. Reliable systems do not depend on one person's memory or sleep schedule or moral self-conception. They use documented standards, training, review, role-based access, and reproducible quality assurance. Victoria, can you explain to me what did your work? Sure, you can just push one programming words. Okay, I'm not gonna I'm just getting distracted, sorry. So, and then Claire, she moves from, quote unquote, this a map appears useful to, this should be a nationally, federally funded thing. That's a major public policy leap. Right? Before public funding, one would need an independent audit of accuracy and outcomes. Comparison with NamUs, right? Like I said, there's already a database there. The DOE network, the Charlie project, and other systems. A privacy and cybersecurity assessment, governance structure, procurement plan, accessibility standards, records retention policy. How long are you going to keep those records on for? Conflict of interest controls, and proof the tool fills a non-duplicative public need. Anecdotal utility is not a federal business case. She also centers Raul's glory, quote unquote, and resource burden rather than the institutional question. Should public money strengthen the official national system, fund interoperable state data entry, support vetted nonprofit partners, or acquire a private platform? These are all different options. So the error and fallacies: founder indispensability. Quality is equated with one person personally touching every record. Anecdote to budget leap. Claimed usefulness becomes a federally funded recommendation without evaluation for some reason. False choice. Either Raul pays personally or the federal government funds this map, or other institutional designs, they just disappear. Hero-centered policy. System design is framed around relieving and recognizing one advocate. Governance omission. Privacy, security, audit, procurement, and accountability are not considered at all. Yeah, okay, yeah, Victoria, I got it. Yeah, programming such a map would not work that way, and even entering data into such a program would require more than one button push. Yes. Okay, we are on the same page. Got it. I thought I made a mistake with why something said, and you were correcting me. So I was like, can you explain it to me? Because I will correct myself if I'm wrong. So I'll definitely do that. So 145, 39. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. We are getting there.
Advocacy outlets like Charlie Project, let's say, they go nonprofit, and then they are basically nationally recognized. You look at the DOE network, the same thing. And I'm not saying I'm considering going nonprofit, although there are iterations of that for the future.
Okay.
But that's what the map could be in this space. It could be a definitive location as intuitive to go to as Charlie Project is for me. Aside from NamUs, it's Charlie Project, the DOE network, and those outlets that I pull information from and add them to the map itself.
So he's just using other people's hard work. That's all he's doing, and he's not even giving them any accreditation. He's not saying, oh, this is where I'm getting my data from. And he's not giving them any credit. So he just confessed to using other nonprofit and other nonprofit organizations' hard work, and he doesn't even credit them. He just briefly credit them here. He doesn't credit them on the Facebook page or the advocacy book Facebook page. Nothing. Nowhere. Okay, dude. Give the organizations credit from whom you're picking the data up from. NamUs, or the Charlie Project or the DOE network. Give them the credit where it's due, because they are doing a lot of work here. You're just picking their data up. We are on the same page, you think? So, give them the credit they deserve for their work. You asshole. Yes, you're an asshole if you're not crediting people whose work you are building your platform on.
Could be that at that level. So, I've created certain goalposts I want to get to before I pause on map development and focus on enhancing the platform. Plus, I have to ethically get myself prepared for that. And right now, it's still... I'm very ethical.
So you didn't start this ethically. What do you mean by ethically prepared? You're not ethically prepared? Huh?
Yeah, it's quite evident you're not, because you're not crediting your sources. So I guess.
Constrained, just as a matter of course for myself. So I do
This
things
is just vague talk. What are you talking about, dude? Can you be specific, please?
that are, most people would say, are counterproductive, but I sleep good at night because of it. I sleep exhaustedly at night because of it, but I sleep.
Oh. Oh yeah, because you sleep well at night, the map is ethical, guys. He oh my god. This is what I talk about echo chamber. Raul is comparing the possible future map to nationally recognized non-profit resources, says it could become a definitive location, and describes himself as ethically constrained. Doesn't specify how, just says he is. Then he says he sleeps well because his conduct does not conflict with what he believes is right. There was another person who believed their conduct was right. They ended up with a contempt charge and an arrest warrant, so I'm just saying. So, conscience, yes, it matters. It is not an independent ethics review. Yeah, Victoria, he's not ethically prepared for what? He's not ethically doing anything from where I'm sitting. Yeah. Conscience is not an independent ethics review. Saying I sleep well because my conduct matches my belief, it establishes consistency between a person and his own standards. It does not establish that his own standards are complete and that the facts are correct or that affected people agree. People with incompatible moral systems can all sleep soundly. The aspiration to build a definitive resource also conflicts with the earlier emphasis on one-person control. Definitive national systems require institutional durability, succession planning, correction rights, service uptime, data standards, appeals, security, and accountability outside the founder. He compares the map with established resources such as NamUs, the DOE network, the Charlie Project, but does not provide comparative coverage or verification, update latency or error metrics. Nothing. But yeah, it's comparative to them somehow. And then, saying that I'm ethically constrained, it's another self-issued certification. Ethical constraint is shown through procedures, consent rules, prohibition uses, conflict management, privacy impact assessment, transparent corrections, and independent oversight, and quality processes. Organic growth does not prove authenticity or ethics. Weeds are also organic. The weeds in the garden. So, appeal to conscience, personal comfort is treated as evidence of objective ethical soundness. Genetic or organic fallacy. Organic development is implicitly associated with authenticity and virtue. Aspirational equivalence. A private project is compared with established systems without equivalent metrics or governance. It's not comparable. Yours is not comparable to them because yours is dependent on one founder, one person. Theirs is not. Then self-certification. The creator judges his own ethical adequacy by his own beliefs. Echo chamber. That's what I keep saying. Scalability contradiction. Personal control and definitive national status are praised simultaneously without resolving the tension. Yeah, sleeping is good for your health, dude, but it's not a privacy audit. Just saying. Ugh. All right, moving on. We're almost done.
Right. That speaks volumes because, as you grow, people don't realize that keeping that foundation and your focus on actually why you're doing this and what is the most important part of it to you and where you actually want to see it go is one of the hardest parts when it's growing and expanding and it looks like, oh yeah, you're doing so well, but things start to go a little this way or that way.
Yep. I
hear you on that because that can be one of the difficult challenges, but I have great admiration that your focus is not waned from day one from advocacy for the families and the victims themselves. And those voices those unidentified that don't have a voice.
Yep.
Like, it has not waned. The sensationalism, the Harriman case, getting your name out there, growing so much, getting interviews, all of that. None of that doesn't seem to faze you, because the focus is still, I would say 70% of this conversation we've had was focused on the families and the victims every chance.
Was it? Was it?
That it could come in. And that's admirable. And that means your mission is still from day one the same. That's what we want to help promote for you and get out there and get you some help in getting that information out there.
Thank you.
I will be listing all of your links, but I do hope you come back when you have time. I know how busy you are.
I'd love to. I can see, conversation on like the unidentified and DNA labs with Dana Pohl. I love that idea. Dana and I have been wanting to do it together because our conversations just go on forever. And her husband.
I'll tell you, you can tell Dana, my platform's your platforms, you guys together. You want to do it together? You want to do whatever? Not that I want to keep you from the rest of the world doing this stuff. I mean, God forbid if CBS or ABC wants to grab you, go for it. Like,
of course.
I'm still a little there,
No, that's all good. But, high tide lifts all boats. So, when we create our own high tide of ethical advocates and people that want to tell these stories, then it's a win for all of us, as long as it's done right, which is, important to me. But then I can also see a follow-up visit, certainly with me alone, but possibly with some of the Gilgo families as we relaunch the legislative session.
Absolutely. Updates on the legislations for sure. Anytime you want to come, you got.
I will definitely look into that, dude. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what you got.
A push or a project in regards to that. If it takes just 15 minutes, whatever, we can do like whatever you want, because I am going to be all over that for sure. That needs to happen.
So EMP from the live chat said, I'm not sure I have ever seen so much excessive ego stoking of each other. I don't know what to say, dude, seriously. Like, Claire estimates that 70% of their conversation was focused on victims and families, and says this proves that Raul's mission has not changed. Raul speaks of high tide of ethical advocates. Again, it's like he's creating this scenery. And then Claire offers the platform for future legislative pushes. Okay, break time's over. Gotta go. We'll catch the rest after work. Have fun, peoples. Yeah, cheers. There's not much left. I think it's only 10 minutes. So you should be fine. So all this, what they have just said right now, this is circular proof manufactured inside the interview. Claire selected the guest. She selected the guest, this person. She chose the questions, repeatedly steered the conversation towards advocacy, and then used the resulting topic distribution as evidence of the guest's unchanged motives. This is like writing an exam, tutoring the candidate on the answers, and treating the score as independent validation. Even if 70% was accurate or were accurate, topic share does not prove motive. A person can speak extensively about victims while also pursuing status, access, branding, or policy influence. Human motives can be mixed. The relative assessment is conduct over time, accuracy, correction behavior, consent, and outcomes, not a rough percentage of a friendly conversation. Yes, but Claire stamped it, 70%. Yeah, 70% pass mark, everyone. And also like Raul's phrase of like ethical advocates, again, risks becoming an in-group label for people who share his norms. Quote unquote done right is left defined by him. So people are ethical, he gets to decide who are ethical or who are doing it the right way. Claire then commits her own platform to legislation that has not been substantively examined in the interview. They did not examine the legislation at all. She's no longer interviewing an advocate about the policy. She's joining a campaign now, which is allowed, but it should be disclosed as advocacy, not presented as neutral public education. So errors and fallacies. Circular validation. The interview's own structure is used to prove the guest's character. Non sequitur. Talking mostly about victims does not establish purity or continuity of motive. False quantification. An impressionistic 70% quote-unquote gives subjective praise, a numerical costume. In-group moral labeling. Ethical advocates quote-unquote risks defining ethics through affiliation. Role collapse. Host, admirer, and campaign supporter merge without an independent fact-checking function. You cannot just curate the conversation around advocacy and then cite your own curation as a proof of sainthood. Now we go on to 15108. Okay, here we go. Almost done, guys.
As a storyline of a newbie advocate coming into a space and learning and caring and sharing, and then see it through court hearing, see it through a conviction, and then staying with it for the next path that's is hard, you know.
So many people are not going to be talking about it anymore. All of the sensationalism of the case is gone.
Yep.
For me, the issues that became part of it are still there. And so they still need to be, the spotlight still needs to be there, and there still needs to be a push. And I know some people are going to say, oh, yeah, you know, it's just a matter of like, you know, because it's a YouTube channel or it's a different kind of platform, it's all about this or that. But it's really not.
Well, I mean,
listen to the mess, like it's the message, you know, it's
exactly that. And like Julie Murray, the sister of missing woman Maura Murray, when she was asked, how do you know who cares? And her answer was, when all the hype has gone away, they're still there. Like they still care. They're still supportive. They're still present. And that is very, very much how I feel when it comes to the Gilgo families.
Even with anything where families are dealing with grief or they're dealing with tragedies in their lives, it's like, you know, you take that breath and you like, who's still there a year later? Like who's still checking in? Like who's still in that circle when it got like so hard and so dark and the road had nothing but obstacles? Like who actually is still there? Because like everybody will want to be there when it's all sunshine and roses at the end or for the pot of gold. But who's actually there, you know, during the process?
Indeed.
And I am sorry to hear about the loss of your brother. Like I know that I lost a little brother, but I understand that process of like who's still there when you get through like all of that, you know, that resonated with me. Thank you for sharing your personal stories and actually how you came to do this. I'm going to let you go now and hope that you'll come back soon. Okay. And, or not, you know, not tomorrow or the next day, because you're believe me, I know how busy you are. I am just honored you took the time because I think your message is important and I would be proud and honored to keep putting it out there as much as I can. So I'll be retweeting you until my fingers fall off. Okay.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Alrighty. Bye now.
Okay. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Raul, for joining me.
Muted. Sorry. So yeah, so the part about, you know, the stolen valor from Sable Eagle, like he admitted that his database or his map is dependent on the work done by other organizations, the nonprofits, the Doe Network, the Charlie Project, and all that, NamUs. So he's taking, you know, he's taking other people's work and just like assembling it together and just chucking it in on his own platform. And then Sable Eagle goes on, wants to force states to go along with this thing so that he can claim to have been instrumental in blah, 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 blah. Exploitation of the dead, simple as that. Yeah. So this whole thing
is like,
Very interesting conversation. And I hope you all learned a little more about Raul Montero's mission, CatchLISK, and some of the other organizations that are helping with the unnamed, the missing, and the unsolved. Please check out the links below on how to contact CatchLISK, all of the things they're working on, the map, NamUs, and some of the other organizations, and especially for new legislation in New York for the Son of Sam law, which is at the forefront right now, based on things that have happened in the Harriman case, and also for all the families of the victims. Thank you for listening. We'll see you again soon. In the meantime, be well. Bear out.
So, Raul and Claire say that people who remain after publicity fades are the ones who truly care. Claire closes by promoting the New York Son of Sam initiative and the guest links. So, long-term commitment can be evidence of care. It is not conclusive proof of accuracy, healthy boundaries, or good methods. People remain involved for many reasons: compassion, identity, community, status, habit, conflict, audience demand, or a mixture. Or, if I might dare say, status and attention. Longevity tells us duration. It does not automatically tell us the motive. And the quote-unquote who is still here test can also delegitimize people who step back because of burnout, trauma, family requests, professional limits, or recognition that they're no longer helpful. Leaving is not necessarily abandonment. Staying is not necessarily virtue. And then the outro then finally is directing the viewers towards legislation at the forefront, quote-unquote, without explaining that the current proposals are notice expansion bills that both remain in committee as of 19th August of 2026. That current law already provides a notice and civil action framework, and that the original law was struck down on First Amendment grounds. So that omission in the final summary of the interview's method, emotional certainty first, and then legal architecture later, or never. That's what it is. They have produced no links on their screen, no articles, nothing. So this is the New York executive law, right? Give me a sec. Section 632A, crime victims. And then I shared this yesterday also. Simon and, Schuster, Inc., petitioner versus members of the New York State Crime Victims Board, and then the New York Assembly bill. They don't bring this up at all on the screen. There's nothing, they don't do it. And then, where's the last one? Senate Bill S5470 relates to notice of profits from a crime. Right? And this one is Assembly Bill A6730. Relates to notice of profits from a crime, both of them. And you can download the text bill PDF. There you go. Yeah, you remember I had Jane Doe. Yeah, that's meaningless. It's just him saying things. And then this guy's English sucks. Yeah. And that's what I'm telling you. Some people think that just because they can speak English, whatever the fuck comes out of their mouth makes sense or should make sense to people. So yeah, so advocacy goals, they deserve serious discussion. Serious discussion requires more than admiration, slogans, and leading questions. So errors and fallacies that were performed here are duration as authenticity fallacy. Remaining involved is treated as decisive proof of or care, and it just totally, dismisses people who back up due to other reasons. Burnout, trauma, family requests, professional, limits, recognition that they're no longer helpful. Survivorship bias, those still visible are celebrated. Legitimate reasons for leaving are ignored. Motive simplification, complex personal motives are reduced to care versus hype. Advocacy without disclosure of material limits. The closing promotes bills without their status, mechanism, or constitutional history. Nothing. And nothing in Raul's bill, links also explains anything about that? So this is a disservice to the victims, in my opinion. Claire and Raul are both doing a disservice to the victims here. And I would urge people to go themselves and check out the links themselves that I put in the live chat just now. I put it in the live chat. So, final halo appeal. The guest's personal story becomes a reason to support policy rather than the policy text itself. Staying for years may prove commitment or care. It does not make every year's claim correct. Or every claim correct. Sorry. So what did we learn from this interview? We learned that some of the ethical concerns are real. Families have objected to media centering perpetrators and degrading victims, yes. Mugshots and stigmatizing labels can do harm. Missing person cases can fall through institutional cracks. NamUs is not mandatory in every state. Families often need better information and support. Those are substantive issues. But the interview repeatedly weakens those issues by replacing precision with praise. Claire does not test Raul's claims. She authenticates him. She calls him diligent, respectful, ethical, unique, and expert adjacent, then treats those moral descriptions as though they validate legal and forensic assertions. Raul, in turn, repeatedly presents self-reported work as proof of national authority. Every unidentified person, 21 solves, law enforcement requests, the ability to produce candidate lists rapidly, more accomplished in a few years than decades before. Some of these claims, they may be true. The interview does not provide the material needed to verify or properly define them. We have no way of verifying it or auditing his work. On New York law, they collapse notice, victim notification, civil suit, provisional attachment, and recovery into one automatic free story. They describe the current law as preventing a person from telling a story. No, okay, that's not correct, sorry. Modern statute instead creates notice duties and civil remedies. They call a constitutionally difficult redistribution system a simple compromise without defining who pays whom, for what expression, or under what causal standard and with what exception. Under what causal standard and with what exceptions. So it's a constitutionally difficult redistribution system, and they have no standards for it. On forensic systems, they turn NamUs into a gateway to CODIS, describe CODIS as containing everyone, and reduce reliable case entry to 3 buttons. Official sources say otherwise. NamUs and CODIS, or NDIS, are different systems with different data, users and processes. Automatic matching assists people. It does not replace collection, validation, laboratory work, or investigation. And then critics enter the conversation with epistemic doors closed. Critics become trolls, obsessives, and incapable people who tear down what they cannot do. Family support is used to validate the advocate. A screenshot archive waits for later. That is not a culture of correction or working on criticism. It is a culture in which moral membership determines who gets heard. The sharpest conclusion is not that advocacy is bad. It is that advocacy is too important to be protected from scrutiny. Advocacy should always be open to scrutiny, but in this case, scrutiny is being avoided at all costs. Victims do not benefit when compassion is used as an exemption from accuracy or audit. Families do not benefit when a host mistakes affirmation for verification. And a database does not become national infrastructure because its creator describes it passionately. Use the statutes, use official technical documentation, define the claimed result, show the causal chain, demonstrate the causal chain, correct the record publicly, then ask the audience to support the policy. Anything less is not accountability. It is branding with a moral soundtrack. That's all it is. So, I'll put the my links in the description later for reference. And yeah, that's me done with this whole thing. This was all a fucking bullshit exercise with nothing. So yeah, I'll get out of here. Thank you guys for listening to me, and yeah, leave comments below if you have any suggestions or if you have any thoughts. If you have any criticism for me, let me know. I'm always happy to do that. So, sorry, excuse me. So yeah, thanks everyone. Have a good night or good day wherever you are in whatever time zone, and yeah, bye.